30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
I don't know what you guys think. I'm into the college football playoff thing, and it's going to be exciting. We're all going to watch these games, but every week when they reveal these rankings, it just feels like I've got way more questions than I have answers. And welcome to the show, Maggie, Andrew, you.
ESPN's got to kill a meaningless college basketball game and get to the rankings, by the way. I'm not sitting there waiting for some stupid Maui Invitational Classic game.
By the way, we didn't mention this yesterday. We'll get to it. Coaches getting huffy at the Maui Invitational in those Hawaiian shirts just doesn't really match the vibe. You shouldn't be able to yell and scream if you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
I could almost feel the tension in Bristol. Get this game over with. Get to the football. Yeah. No one cares.
Yeah, kill the Memphis game. We got to get to the bracket. Anyway, but then we got to the bracket yesterday, and if you're watching this or not, we'll just catch you up on it. So one of the big questions I have, the top four seeds right now would be Oregon number 1, Texas would be number 2, Miami 3, Boise State 4. Remember, these are conference championships, get automatic bids. Filling out the rest of the bracket, Ohio State 5, Penn State would be 6, Notre Dame 7, Georgia 8, Tennessee 9, SMU 10, Indiana 11, Arizona State 12. All right, everyone with me on that one? Here's the thing about my biggest question, which I don't know is going to get answered till the very, very end. I'm going to give you a what if about the SEC and about one of the biggest games of the weekend, the rivalry renewed between Texas and Texas A&M, okay? Texas A&M coming off the 4 overtime loss against Auburn. And Texas is obviously the class right now, along with Georgia, of the SEC. Texas A&M is ranked 20th. But if they beat Texas at home this weekend, they will play Georgia in the SEC championship game. We all together? Texas A&M, if they beat Texas, will play Georgia in the SEC championship game. I ask you this, Andrew Perloff and the Maggie and Perloff audience. If A&M loses on a last-second field goal to Georgia, say they beat Texas, go to the SEC championship game, and they lose by a whisker, an eyelash, would the committee really leave out the SEC champion runner-up just because they have 4 losses?
Yes. And also, by the way, I'm picking A&M to beat Texas for this scenario. I know it's a 6-point spread.
Yeah.
I just think SEC at this point of the year, whoever's at home, and if it's dark out, pick that team. So
not a bad strategy.
Yeah, I think they would. I think it's just I think they said basically at a certain point they're not going to overwhelmingly favor the SEC. So that would be an overwhelmingly favoring scenario for the SEC. And the fact that A&M's 20 right now, they beat Texas. What do they get up to 12? I just think that it's going to be really tough unless there's another option, unless Notre Dame or Tennessee loses. Then that might open up a spot. But right now, I think you said yesterday, you had questions. It felt really predictable. The guys on ESPN said, well, it's exactly what we predicted. If chalk holds out, there's not going to be a spot there for an A&M. They need another upset ahead of them. Then we can maybe talk.
Okay, but they would be pulling an upset too.
Yeah.
They're a touchdown underdog
but there's
basically
no way,
at home.
There's no way in that scenario that they pass, in my opinion, there's no way they pass Texas to the rankings.
But here's the thing. It would be, first of all, they'd have the head-to-head. I know that doesn't always matter. But the other part is, wouldn't that be considered such a good loss? Like, for example, we take it to the Big Ten, where Indiana had a strength of schedule that was like in the hundreds. But then they played Ohio State, and they didn't get boat raced 70-3. So now their strength of schedule is up to like 50-something, right? So wouldn't the same thing happen for A&M? You're ranked 20th, but if you beat number 3 Texas, that's got to be the most quality of wins, right?
Yeah, but how high do you think you'd jump for that win?
You should jump pretty freaking high, shouldn't you? I mean, they're third. They're ranked third right now in the college football playoff, then third in the rankings, and they're the top team in the SEC in the rankings because it's Oregon, Ohio State, Texas is the first ranked SEC team in the rankings.
Yeah,
that's got to be one of the best wins you could possibly have besides beating Oregon.
I will do a show bet.
I don't want to.
Texas,
I don't even know what you're going to say.
They're not going to pass. They're not going to put A&M ahead of Texas in the rankings if A&M wins this game.
But don't you think that maybe A&M would deserve to be in the rankings? Because you would have gone.
I'm not saying in the rankings. Like I'm saying they're not
in the playoff.
They're not passing Texas.
But who has Texas played? See, then we go back to that thing. Who has Texas played? Right? They were always, I'm not saying that they're not a good team. They are a very good team. But they got a little bit of an air quotes easier path through this SEC than, say, an Alabama or a Georgia did. And so they have their best win is what? Vandy on the road? And Vandy isn't the Vandy from a month and a half ago. They lost to Georgia on their own home field at night. So if Texas A&M
and
beats Texas, I think it's
right now. What is A&M's best win other than this fictional win over Texas?
Texas A&M beat.
They beat LSU. LSU. Yeah.
Okay, well, but they started the avalanche a bit for LSU.
I don't know if you can't go on what they were ranked then. Yeah, I mean A&M doesn't have a great schedule either, so I'm not sure. I just don't think that. So basically, all right. Say this scenario plays out. Who are you knocking out? Unless if there's no upset, and you have the 12 teams as they are now, you have to knock someone out here, Mag.
I don't. Indiana. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you. Oregon is safe. Ohio State's safe. So Texas, you think they could possibly knock them out because they haven't beaten them. Penn State's safe. Notre Dame is probably safe.
Let's see what happens if Notre Dame loses to USC this weekend.
Say Notre Dame, 7.5 point favorite beats USC.
If USC beats Notre Dame.
Yeah. Okay. Miami has to lose to Syracuse. Well, say Miami loses. Maybe that's a jump. But if all these teams that are favorites win their final week, it's going to be hard for A&M to kick somebody out.
I just don't think it's going to go chalk. Anyway, so the question to you and the audience, could a 4-loss SEC team get into the college football playoff? I find that interesting. There's an ACC aspect of this, too. I know that we're on in South Carolina. I know that we're on in places where Clemson and South Carolina are the thing. They're going to play in rivalry week this week. And Clemson was interesting because they're ranked now just outside of the top 12, right? They're ranked 13th in the latest college football playoff rankings. So if EJ's Miami Hurricanes go up to Syracuse and lay an egg, now you're going to have SMU and Clemson playing for the ACC championship game. And I ask you again, say Clemson loses by a last-second field goal. Say it's a whisker. Say it's an eyelash. Is Clemson getting in over Miami? Probably. And I don't think everyone's going to like that, including EJ.
I actually wouldn't. I couldn't. If Miami loses to Syracuse and Clemson plays a tough game against SMU and loses, I even can't fault Clemson for playing an extra hard game.
Yeah. Well, in this scenario, though, I guess Clemson, though, doesn't even have to beat South Carolina in this scenario,
no, that's true.
Right?
If they lose South Carolina, that's a little different.
South Carolina's a good team.
No, South Carolina's a good team, and I think this is going to be a very competitive game. And I know I kind of pissed off some South Carolina people earlier this week. South Carolina's very good, and this is going to be a good game, but this is not a cakewalk at all for Clemson. But if Clemson does win, and then Clemson goes and plays SMU, you're talking about an extra hard, tough game. I guess my question is, I don't think anybody that plays a hard, extra game should be penalized at all.
Okay, so that means in that scenario, then you do think Texas A&M, if they beat Texas and have a close game against Georgia in the SEC championship game, they should be in with 4 losses.
I think they should be in the conversation. I think it would depend on who. I think you're gonna when we're talking about, are there going to be other losses ahead of them? And I think there's a very good chance there will be. But yeah, if we're talking about them versus a 3-loss Tennessee. Well, Tennessee didn't make the SEC championship,
right?
I would actually lean a little bit toward Texas A&M in that scenario. I think that's where those conversations get interesting.
I mean, we're assuming a lot. I think that some of these teams in the top 12, like Tennessee's going to be so desperate in that game. Listen, I would not bet against Vanderbilt if my life today. No. That guy scares me, Diego. But yeah, I mean, it's a big spread. They need a lot of help. And also, here's the big question: what do? You have a 3-loss Alabama and a 4-loss A&M. And
exactly.
I mean, okay, A&M beat Texas, but Alabama beat Georgia, who killed Texas. So you could play that game.
This is why I'm saying
I think Alabama might win that battle.
Oh.
I think it's gonna be hard for Alabama. Really needs some upsets.
But how does the SEC
Alabama needs to get past Auburn. I know that they have everything to play for, and it's at home and all of that. And Auburn's coming off this 4 overtime game against A&M, but still, like Alabama's got to take care of this week.
I think this would be a very interesting case study this first year in terms of how the committee treats conference runner-ups.
Yeah.
Because whatever we think of how many losses Texas A&M has, by the way, they only have an extra loss because they played against freaking Notre Dame, who's a team that's in the playoff. Like Alabama played Wisconsin in the conference. They didn't play anybody that tough. So we also the losses aren't equal. We could say this team has 3 and this team would have 4, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
So to me, I think it would be very interesting. Like I don't think conference runner-up should be getting passed up for teams below them. Like I love Miami. I want them to make the playoff, but if they don't make it to the conference championship game, I don't think that Clemson should be skipped over by Miami because they lose. I don't think that Texas A&M should be skipped over because they lose to a great team. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I agree with you.
But the problem is, and this is where the kind of greater 30,000-foot view of what they decided to do with this 12-team playoff, given the automatic qualifiers, I think is turned out to be a little dicey.
Wait, really? I think that's so fun.
Well, it could be fun. You know, if Tulane and gets a bye or Boise gets a bye, yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be different. But the automatic qualifiers and I think getting rid of the divisions within the conferences has made this kind of challenging.
Well, the automatic qualifiers, if Boise runs the table, they're going to be like the number 9 team in the country. So that wouldn't have they don't get any benefit there. They're just in already.
Yeah, I guess
the automatic qualifiers were becoming irrelevant.
Well, you're going to get a lot of pushback from the Big 12 probably. Because they're going to wonder
about the 4 spot. Yeah, the bye.
They're going to say we're one of the air quotes power conferences.
Right, but at least you're not going to affect which 12 teams get in because Boise would have been in without that rule anyway. If they run the table, which is big if. I mean, so that's going to be a tough conference title game. So what if Alabama? Let me paint the scenario. Blows out Auburn.
Okay.
Very plausible because definitely. Alabama is such a Jekyll and Hyde team. You have no idea. They blow out Auburn, then the committee's going to have Auburn just beat A&M and Alabama blew the doors off Auburn. I think they would, we know, come on. The brand is so huge with Alabama. They want TV ratings. I think they would say, sorry, Jimbo, or Elko, or whoever is at A&M.
Yeah, Mike Elko.
Yeah.
Jimbo's on a boat somewhere.
I think they would favor Alabama. Based on 100 years of college football history.
But you're assuming then would A&M have lost to Texas here?
No, A&M
wins?
No, A&M beats Texas.
Okay.
If A&M loses to Texas, then the conversation's over. Right. I would think that they would have, and then loses a conference title game. So basically you're weighing a 3-loss Alabama team against a 3-loss A&M team.
No, 4-loss.
Right, but I'm not counting that 4th loss.
Okay.
So you get into that 3-loss. I think they give the edge to Alabama.
Wow.
That's
Do you think
not
they're
high.
going to find a way to shoehorn Alabama into this thing?
Well,
no
right now,
what?
Alabama has 3 losses and they're 13, and A&M has 3 losses and they're 20. So is that Texas win enough to jump 8 spots? That's a big jump.
It is. 855-212-4227. I know we got fans of SMU in our audience. I know we've got fans of Clemson in our audience. South Carolina, Ohio State, Oregon. It's so funny because we're on all over Oregon and we've got such a big Oregon following and we love you guys in Portland and Eugene. And it's just been the most non-dramatic season for the Ducks. I mean, early in the season when they had some close wins, okay, you're beating Boise by a field goal and Idaho or whatever. But
that Wisconsin game was pretty dramatic.
Yeah, but it's like they've just been number 1 for so long. It feels like, hey, and it's not been like sunshine and rainbows skipping through the raindrops, but I mean, kind of.
Well, everybody and their brother has Ohio State penciled into that 1 spot. I noticed that on ESPN last night. Here's our projection, and then they just immediately put Oregon to the side. I think it's the playing the same team twice theory, right? Like it's great because I think they're gonna play each other 3 times. You know what narrative did get killed? I watched it last night. There's no warm weather teams really coming up to play cold weather teams. Maybe Arizona State, but generally it just didn't work out that way. The big cold weather narrative is not really a thing.
Well, the teams. Well, I mean, tell SMU that they might have to go to Notre Dame. That's cold.
I understand.
Cold in South
but
Bend.
but when this narrative, nobody was talking about SMU when they were talking about this narrative. They were talking about Alabama and Georgia having to play at Penn State, and it just none of that really happened that way.
This is the other part. If the playoffs started today, you would have 2 Big Ten teams facing each other in the first round and 2 SEC teams facing each other in the first round. Tennessee would face Georgia and Indiana would play Penn State. Is that really what we want for this college football playoff? Like, I get that, you might get rematches, but wasn't the whole thing about getting an odd matchup, like one we haven't seen before or something unique? This is not unique.
I think all that moves around, though. But you're right. I don't think it's very possible, whatever the matchups are.
Like Tennessee plays Georgia all the time.
Yeah,
this is not something where wow, imagine if Tennessee played Georgia. We see it every year.
I think that's an impossible scenario for that matchup to happen, actually. None of the because we have so many games left, like people have to move around. So we'll see how that all works out. But I got to be honest, do we really want to see the Big 12 winner in this? It's going to be Arizona State or Iowa State.
Definitely. Yes.
You want to see, brand-wise, Arizona State and all their rich tradition of competing for a national title in college football.
Listen, I want to see something weird happen because I've got no dog in that fight.
I want to see Colorado.
I think you say rich tradition of Ragers.
I want to see
Big mistake that we all didn't go to ASU, by the way.
Yes, and we all should have went there.
All should have went to ASU, or maybe Miami, but probably ASU.
Come on, let's all be honest here. We're not. The committee does not want to see Arizona State and Iowa State and SMU, and they want to see the big brands.
Then don't give an automatic qualifier to the conference
champion. You got to put at least one Big 12 team in here.
And that's exactly what you're getting. Literally one, and you still have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
In the bracket.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I just think that those games are not going to be the monsters. Basically, I think the committee is going to look at that field and be like, I don't know. We might need to get Alabama in here to juice this up a little bit. Let's be real about how this works. But
you are getting a Big 12 team. You know that.
Yeah. No, I'm fine with that. I just think that they're like, oh, man, what happened to Colorado? What happened to Avery Johnson in Kansas State? I just think that this is if Iowa State gets in there, they haven't really been in the conversation all year and just sort of the Big 12 filtered that way. It's fine.
Blame
I'm just saying.
BYU, they keep losing. Blame Kansas, they keep upsetting people. I don't know. Blame Colorado.
Somebody at ESPN is going to be like, can you just kind of shove up the Crimson Tide a little bit?
Listen, there's part of this where I know it's a TV product and we're all very dubious about TV executives because we know a lot of TV executives. We have reason to be dubious. But people are going to watch this no matter what. They are. Well, I don't think you have to juice this.
I think the rating would be double an Alabama-Tennessee game compared to a Tennessee-Iowa State game. You say people are going to watch this. You don't think that would affect the ratings?
I think there's probably a couple teams that affect the ratings. Maybe Alabama's one, but maybe as Alabama was Saban, and then Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame does actually affect the ratings. And so if Notre Dame loses to USC this weekend, very possible. Think about it. Notre Dame playing at Yankee Stadium one week and then having to go play USC in California the next. That's not an insignificant amount of travel.
Is Notre Dame in the same conversation? I can't imagine Notre Dame's gotten any ratings this year because their schedule has been so god-awful. You tell me people are tuning in for Notre Dame, Virginia this year? I think Alabama is the big one. I think SEC is a very powerful brand. I think the casual fans love these SEC teams. So I think that the committee is going to have to consider that. I hate to say it. By the way, at least Boise State's got Ashton Genty, so they're going to blow that up.
We all want to watch.
Yeah. We better hope that they run the table. That'll be super fun.
It will be fun, but to be fair, they're going to most likely be playing Ohio State or something in that first round on a neutral field.
But what are they right now? They're 11. It's unlikely that they'll probably move up a little bit if they win their conference title game.
But they'll be the 4th ranked champion, so they're going to play the 5th seed, which is most likely going to be Ohio State.
You're assuming the Big 12 doesn't jump them and get that 4th spot.
I'm assuming that.
Yeah. Well, if the 5th team wins.
Do you think Arizona State's going to upset Ohio State? Maybe. See, this is why you got to tune in. This is why they got us. All these matchups we're going to watch because it's interesting too. Arizona State, Ohio State. Even though the spread on that's probably going to be 17.
Is there any chance that the committee gets a little gun shy when it comes to an Alabama because of what happened last year?
Yes. I don't think they trust Kalen DeBoer. probably.
Well,
Because of what happened last year?
No,
What?
I was talking about the FSU thing.
Yeah. No, because
Wait, what do you mean?
Well,
I'm sorry.
FSU
is undefeated.
Right, it gets skipped over
Right.
to get into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Didn't Alabama take that spot?
Yeah, but Alabama also played an amazing game.
No, I know, but I'm saying there was a lot of controversy around it. A lot of people were upset. Like, maybe it looked vindicated, and I was fine with it. I'm one of the people who were, but I'm just saying, I wonder, like, if we're playing a scenario out where Pearl's like, we got to get some Alabama, we got to get Alabama in there over somebody.
get Ole Miss in there too.
Right.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to feel gun shy about that because of all the complaints about last year's playoff situation?
I do not think so, only because we're not talking about anyone who's undefeated outside of Oregon. So if it was an undefeated, that was so glaring about FSU. Okay, 855-212-4227, College Football Playoff Committee threatening to ruin our Thanksgiving, but then maybe save our New Year's? Whatever. Let us know what you think. Biggest takeaways. We know we're on in all of these college football towns, massive fan bases. Let us know how you're feeling. Also, we've got Jerry Jones acting crazy. Maggie and Perloff, don't move.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening. Because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of shields, guards, and Real Fit products. Boyd in Mississippi? Learn more at depend.com.
You're in a 4.5-minute break. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. This is not a criticism of us, but I walked away from that first segment even more confused by what's going to happen in the final 12 because it's very up in the air, which is, I guess, great for college football because a lot of results could happen here. Listen, we had all the upsets last week. It's the time of year where home teams just run it. So there's going to be something wild. And in fact, every scenario we played out, probably something even weirder will happen, which is exactly what the committee wants. The question you raised, can a 4-loss A&M team get in? It's a great one. A 3-loss Alabama team, I think, is the number one issue that everybody's watching, assuming Alabama beats Auburn.
So one other thing about this new college football playoff committee, and we'll get to your calls in just 1 second. You guys want to weigh in on this? There was an idea that this was going to really destroy rivalries, right? Because why would a rivalry game matter if you've got this other tournament sort of looming out there? It just doesn't mean as much. And I'll grant you that probably Ohio State, Michigan might be a little down this year because Michigan is coming off a championship. The team's not been good. It's a 20.5-point spread.
You kind of need a quarterback to compete in this.
You would think, but Michigan just signed this big Bryce Underwood guy, so they'll be back up in no time, you think? Maybe. But look at all the rivalries that it is helping this week. Texas A&M, the rekindling of that rivalry. Clemson, South Carolina, in-state rivalry is now very, very tasty. I don't know if I'd be locked into Tennessee Vanderbilt in any other year, but I'm definitely into that game.
Right.
Obviously, Auburn, Alabama is always going to be interesting because that's the Iron Bowl, but even a little bit more this year. And I feel like even like a Georgia Tech, which is something I would never really tune into. And I know Georgia is already in the SEC championship game, but I'm keeping an eye on that game because I'm just curious. I saw Georgia last week not be able to pull away from UMass until very late. Like, I'm curious here because I'm thinking about who could win it all.
I mean, come on.
I think the rivalries are fine is basically what I'm getting at. Because
you could put any teams in those positions in the same, they'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It does feel like, here's the reality of sports. When you expand your playoffs, you make the regular season less meaningful. And that is definitely happening with college football. It's way more subtle than college basketball. Like college basketball, I was screaming to get that Maui Invitational game off my TV because that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. But
that's going to happen in college football. I just generally think like maybe this year those games have some interest, but if you think the rivalries are going to be the same, I'm sorry. It's going to be a completely different picture.
I don't know. I feel like this year I'm getting the rivalries and they mean something, and more of them mean something now. And
totally disagree.
It's not Michigan, Ohio State.
There's one
but
rivalry
others.
that matters, and it's Michigan, Ohio State, and this is the most down people have been on that game in 10 years.
Okay, but Texas A&M, I think, was a sleeping giant
that
of a
has
rivalry.
to do with a 12 team. That's like realignment, right?
No, but now it has to do with the 12 team. Because if A&M wins, then they're alive.
But the point of a rivalry is you don't need like implications for it to be good. The reason that Texas and Texas A&M are playing is because of conference realignment, not because of the 12-team playoff. Honestly, I think you're wrong. Generally, I think these rivalries are going to make less sense. Like Oregon, Ohio State could become this cool rivalry, except that like that first game really didn't matter because they're going to play 2 more times. Well,
I'll tell you what, the 12 team definitely, there should be zero incentive to do a hard out of conference schedule. Like Ohio State and Oregon have to play each other now. They'll rotate, but that's awesome. There's no reason why Notre Dame should ever play A&M again. There's no reason why any of these teams should play because the committee has shown you this year none of that matters. Because look at Indiana. Indiana scheduled nobody in the non-conference, and it didn't matter at all. And they're going to be in this thing. And I don't mean to just pick on Indiana. We could have gone to a lot of different teams there. Do you think Clemson is happy they played Georgia in the opener? They'd probably be solidly in this thing if they had just scheduled East-West State. Anyway, let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Darius is in Dallas. Good morning, Darius.
Hey, how y'all doing? Good to be on again. Now,
Thanks for making the call.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I got on to talk about the playoff, but right at the end, you guys started talking about rivalry games mattering. As somebody who played football at the D1 level, I think it still makes a very big difference to the players that's actually playing in the games. Even from a recruiting standpoint, you still want to own that crosstown rivalry. You still want to be able to have those braggadocious types of effects over your opponents when it comes to that perspective. Now, when it comes to the season, it kind of, I guess it kind of dries it up a little bit. But as far as just bragging rights, you want to have those. Now, when it comes to a 4-loss SEC squad making it to the championship, I think we all should expect, since the SEC is so tough nowadays, they're gonna have more losses in that league than other leagues.
Sure.
The ACC, the Big 12, and I can't remember the other one at the top. The Big 10, it's pretty tough too. But the SEC, they're going to have multiple losses in that league. The league is too strong, and they playing too many of like opponents.
Yeah.
So that won't be a problem for me. The biggest problem with the setup is the fact that they're treating two conferences like they're not Power 4. So what they should do, they should have two teams out of each league. First and second be automatic bids, and then you take 3 at-large bids from the Power 4 conferences, then you'll bring a Boise State-type team league in.
Do you want more automatic qualifiers? More, and Darius, thank you for the call, and it's an interesting one. Instead of one automatic qualifier from the Power 4, you get 2. So 2 from the SEC, 2 from the Big 10, 2 from the ACC, 2 from the Big 12. You may get that. You're going to get close to that this year, except I think the Big 12 is probably just going to get 1 team in, and I wouldn't be surprised if the ACC gets 2 in.
Well, it's funny. He's saying, I assume when he meant that they're treating 2 conferences like mid-majors, he means the Big 12 and the ACC. Now, the ACC, like, for example, I kind of get it. SMU, I was just looking at this. I'm like, SMU, why would they treat them like a mid-major? Because they haven't been a top 10 team since 1985. Like, this is not, there's good reason. I feel like everyone's killing the SEC, but I think the average fan is like, well, if SMU or Arizona State or Iowa State was in the SEC, they would be an average team, not the top of the conference. If Clemson had, maybe they'll beat South Carolina at home, but if they had to play all those SEC teams every week, they would lose too.
Okay,
all these teams would not. If Notre Dame had an SEC schedule, this would be a much different picture.
Totally get it, but apply that to Indiana then. Because Indiana is in the Big 10, which is one of the power elite conferences, but they only played the bottom of the conference. And the conference is not the same at the top and at the bottom.
Well, why not apply that to Oregon and Penn State, too?
You could, but at least they played each other. I don't know. I think the thing about Indiana, and at least Ohio State also had to play Penn State. There were other top of the conference teams. Indiana only played 1 team at the top of the conference, literally played 7 of the bottom 8 teams in the Big 10.
So, and Penn State only played Ohio State. And Oregon, who's actually, it applies to all of them. So I just generally think you can rip any other conference and say you don't have an SEC schedule. You don't have to go to Ole Miss. You don't have to go to Auburn. Right. Maybe that, and I could easily
you don't have to go to Florida, go to the swamp. And that's not at the end of the season. That was a hard place to play for LSU and Ole Miss.
Is it really? If you're a top 10 team, are you scared of going to Penn State? Obviously not, for good reason. James Franklin can't beat a big team. So this is a tough situation. I think if the SEC gets sort of boxed out, they're going to be upset in the offseason. They are going to come down on this committee with the wrath of Greg Sankey.
Ooh, we're shaking. 855-212-4227.
You laugh. They could easily pull out and blow this whole thing up. They could just snap their fingers and bye-bye 12-team playoff.
Yeah, but again, it's a lot of money on the table, and that's what runs this thing. And they're going to be getting a lot of it from this playoff.
Things are changing fast in college football. I would not I would not upset the SEC. If I were them, if 2 or 3 years of this happened in a row, they're like, all right, we're gone. We'll see you. We're going to do our own playoff committee. I'm telling you, and it's obviously on the table. I'm telling you, like, they have to think about that.
Andrew Bogusch is here with us. Good morning, Bogusch.
Guys, good morning. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is proud to support veterans and small businesses with their annual Keys to Progress vehicle giveaway program, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com. That new CFP bracket came out while some college basketball blue bloods did battle in exotic locations. Top-ranked Kansas, number 11 Duke were in Vegas.
They sprint up the floor football style. James to play it in. Looking. Can't find anybody. Gets it into the big fella. Knipple for the tie. It misses. And KU wins. The Jayhawks survive the loss of Dickinson and grind it out in the end.
Brian Haney on the Kansas radio network. The Jayhawks surviving 75-72 when Con Knipple missed that 3 at the buzzer. Cooper Flagg 13 points in the loss. The call mentioned the loss of Hunter Dickinson, the Kansas big, ejected mid-second half for kicking a Duke player after they fell to the court going for a rebound. Different event, still in Vegas. Alabama outscored Houston 85-80 in overtime in a top 10 matchup. Mark Sears led the top with 24. And in Maui, 4th-ranked Auburn outscored number 12 North Carolina 85-72 to join Memphis in today's title game.
There's been way too much slander on this show today about the college basketball last night. It was awesome.
Yeah, I was just...
Everybody's like, oh, these games are bad. It was great games.
That's the first game leading into that game.
Know,
the Memphis game leading into the.
That was like the only game that wasn't that great.
Well, it's probably the one most people were watching.
I know, ironically, but there was. I mean, the Duke Kansas game was awesome. Alabama Houston was awesome. Iowa State Dayton. I mean, this was high level basketball. It was fun to watch.
I'm sorry, EJ. Could you repeat what they were sounding like out there?
Ooh, yeah. Sorry.
By the way,
Manny needs that for the files.
why does Cooper Flagg take every shot? Why does Con Knipple take 70 shots a game? Can you answer?
Cooper Flagg turned the ball over when they gave him the ball down the stretch.
Yeah.
Again.
Con Knipple, another gigantic offer from three-point land in a big game.
He's
you guys
freshman.
What's that?
He's a freshman.
Yeah, I know. He's like there. He takes every shot. I feel like the defense is funneling the ball to him. Is it a second loss where he just completely whiffed on the whole game?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. I mean, I don't know. Again, if you want, they really need to go through Proctor. Proctor is their best shooter, and Proctor didn't get the ball at all in those last two possessions. I think that's the reason why they lost the game.
Sorry, Bogusch, what'd you say happened to Hunter Dickinson? Is he
got
like
ejected?
Ejected.
Oh, so he's not hurt. Okay, they just lost with that. Okay.
By the way, can we get like these guys also get off the court when you get ejected? Why do and that happens in college football too? When the guys get thrown out for targeting, they want to stand on the sideline. It's like you are gone. You have to go. Like Hunter Dickinson was just sitting on the bench, like he fouled out. I don't know what it is with these, and it happens a lot in college sports where guys
you really
get ejected.
think out of the top, 50 things that we could point to with college sports, that's one of them.
It's annoying to me. I see this all the time, and I feel like the coaches don't care.
Okay,
because they can just run over these guys, these referees, so they just say. Oh,
I just want to point out that I got roasted for saying that 70,000 fans rushed the field before there were triple zeros on the clock, and I was called the curmudgeon. And EJ wants to talk about one person who gets ejected not leaving in a timely fashion.
You kick the guy in the head.
Bogusch, back to you.
We're
just keeping score, that's all.
That new CFP bracket, by the way, another week with Oregon, Texas, Miami, and Boise State getting buys. Number 16, Arizona State, gets into the bracket as the Big 12 leader. They would face Ohio State in Columbus in round one. The other initial matchups are Indiana at Penn State, Georgia hosting Tennessee, and SMU at Notre Dame. The LA Dodgers spending again, landing free agent lefty Blake Snell. It's reportedly a 5-year deal worth $182 million. There's a signing bonus of $56 million, no opt-out, and, quote, some deferrals. Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal were back last night, so the Suns went back to winning.
Suns with numbers. Jones, left wing Durant, open for three. He got another one. Kevin Durant, 3 for 5 from downtown tonight, 17. And the Suns have their biggest lead up to 14.
That's John Bloom on Suns Radio. Phoenix cruising to a 127-100 win over the Lakers. KD and Beal each scoring 23 after missing 7 and 5 games with calf injuries. I promise head coach Mike Budenholzer was happy they were back.
No, I mean, they're two great players, and, for them to miss, significant period of time and come back and play the way they did, it's a credit to them.
His team had dropped 5 in a row. They are now 9-1 this season when Durant plays. The Spurs 128-115 winners in Utah with Wemby scoring 34. And the Rockets outlasted the T-Wolves 117-111 in overtime. Houston clinching Group A and a spot in the NBA Cup quarterfinals. Just 2 hockey games last night. Vancouver, a 2-0 win in Boston. Utah HC got a 3-2 win in OT in Montreal. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, that was a surprise signing yesterday. That one was fast. We get to Blake Snell joining the Dodgers. And what does he do to the reigning World Series champs? What does he provide? So much more for you on this Thanksgiving Eve. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Gonna be honest, wasn't expecting a massive Major League Baseball free agent signing last night. Just because the way things have gone, some of these bigger contracts get pushed so late into the season or the offseason. We're talking about sometimes going into spring training. So when Blake Snell signed for 5 years, $182 with the World Series champion LA Dodgers, I was a little shocked just by the timing and kind of shocked by the money, too. Now, Blake Snell is a 2-time Cy Young winner. He's won in both leagues, Pearl. And last year, his market was nothing. Zero. He signed, 2 weeks into spring training with the San Francisco Giants, and then he came out and was terrible. Second half of the season, totally different story. 14 starts. He's got a sub-2 ERA. His batting average against was .123. I mean, it was a series and a complete game shutout in that stretch as well. It was an awesome second half of the season, and here we go. He's the first big fish to land, and it's with the Dodgers, obviously. So just back of the envelope, this is what the starting rotation could be for the Dodgers next year as they defend their World Series title. Blake Snell, Trevor Glasnow, Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, Tyler Glasnow, pardon me, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, and we'll see what happens with Kershaw. He's going to be coming off of some injury.
Did you say Gonsolin?
I did say Tony Gonsolin.
Okay. So how many Cy Young level, I mean, they haven't all won the Cy Young, but how many Cy Young, at their top, Cy Young level pitchers is on one staff here?
Well, Snell's literally 1, 2.
Snell, Glasnow.
Shohei.
Not Shohei.
Yes, Shohei.
Shohei is not a Cy Young level pitcher yet.
Yes, he is. He has been in the past. Of course he is.
What's the most wins he's ever had?
Shohei was in the Cy Young conversation 3 years ago. 2 years ago. All
right. Oh, okay.
Shohei is definitely a Cy Young contender.
Okay. So definitely Snell, definitely Glasnow, right? Definitely Clayton Kershaw.
Yep.
Definitely Walker Buehler. Definitely Tony Gonsolin. I mean, he was fire 2 years ago. Did we say Yamamoto?
Yeah.
Yamamoto. Dustin May's got better stuff than all of them combined, except he can't play more than 3 games in a row without a major injury.
Well.
And then there's like 2 or 3 other guys floating around too. I don't understand this staff at all. I don't know if they're keeping all these guys.
So Walker Buehler's a free agent.
Oh, he's not coming back?
I don't know if he's coming back. I don't have a crystal ball, but he's a free agent, and they just signed Blake Snell to $182 million, so I don't know. It's looking good.
Walker Buehler was hurt all last year too, right? So generally, it's just, to me, it's one of the funniest stats because they have all these like big names and then they go to a bullpen game, like game 3 of the playoff series because they're all hurt.
Yeah, and this is why you sign all these arms, right? Because they just won a World Series and they had 2 of their best guys were hurt, in Glasnow and Gonsolin, who are both coming off of surgery, and Kershaw was hurt too.
I would think and you and I always
And
disagree
Shohei
about.
wasn't pitching, obviously.
Shohei is going to. Did Shohei have surgery on his right shoulder or his left shoulder, or whatever, the off shoulder?
Left shoulder.
Yeah, I would think just even though it's not his pitching shoulder, that they might be cautious with him to try and keep his body. You still have to heal from surgery. I personally would not push him out as a real fast to pitch this year.
I don't think it matters if he's starting the year pitching, though.
Yeah,
I think there's
later.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what's your goals now? It's to win another title. So if Shohei, this is a post All-Star break or whatever, he starts to ramp up. To be honest, it's probably smarter because the Dodgers have no problem winning the division. That's never been an issue. They win the NL West, outside of the Padres. They're going to win this division. So it's not even about that.
And I think if I remember correctly, with the Angels, they went with a 6-man rotation to kind of keep Shohei more healthy. So getting all these arms for them, the Dodgers may be planning now for Shohei to pitch by having, it's a great luxury to be able to we'll just add another starter. Let's get a former 2-time Cy Young winner. That could be this move as well. So
Definitely.
when Shohei does get in the rotation, they can have 6 arms they can throw comfortably.
It's just so funny to me because this is the one thing that Perloff and I are never going to agree on, and we're never going to really know because it's so going to be dependent on health. But you don't think there's any way that Shohei will be pitching or should be pitching. And I think that's 100% not just why they signed him, but why he got the $700 million. They want both.
I think if just in my opinion, if Shohei doesn't pitch and he keeps on winning MVPs, he has a chance to be the greatest player since Babe Ruth. I feel like he's Babe Ruth. He started out a really good pitcher, but then he just was the best offensive player in the game for a long time. At 3 MVPs, he'll become, other than Barry Bonds, like if he wins a 4th MVP, he's in already unprecedented territory, and it feels like he's just starting. He's so big and imposing at the plate. He could run like crazy. I think risking that for possibly blowing out your elbow pitching, to me, seems crazy. Like, why would you not want the MVP? Why would you risk the MVP? He's the most valuable player in baseball year in and year out. Why would you risk hurting that? Just to pitch when you already have the richest staff on history?
Well, because I think they want the...
Do they want the novelty? Or is that
I think they want it all. I think they want the Shohei of it all, right? Because they could have saved their money and signed Juan Soto. They could have... sluggers, I'm not saying they're a dime a dozen. They're not. And especially special ones like Shohei. But they want the story. And I think they also got, I want to say, a little bit lucky because it's definitely... You won the World Series. You didn't get lucky. And they had a harder road than the Yankees. But the fact that they won this with Shohei banged up and with their rotation banged up, you can't count on that every year. That has been something that has tripped up the Dodgers more often than not. That's why the Dodgers haven't lived up to the expectations, is because their pitching rotation has gotten hurt. And I think they want Shohei coming out at some point in that 9th inning and closing out a World Series game like he did the World Baseball Classic. I think that's what they want. So whether he's starting, whether he makes 30 starts, I don't think that's going to happen. But does he make 14? And then they use him in this interesting way in the postseason? You want to talk about memories. You want to talk about iconic.
It's funny. This isn't even this definitely not the best Dodgers team that won last year.
But baseball's weird.
Yeah, when they had look at when they had that Corey Seager team where you went 1 through 9, you had a 25 home run hitter. Now the bottom of their lineup is way weaker than it used to be. Are we counting out Soto to the Dodgers? When they want somebody, they seem to get him.
I mean, it
doesn't seem like money is a big factor.
Pit of money, but you would think that the Yankees also have a bottomless pit of money. I know the Yankees sometimes cry poor, we shouldn't need $200+ million to win a World Series. Well, you are the Yankees.
If Juan Soto goes to the Dodgers, we need to start having a conversation about these players and their lack of competitiveness, like we did with the NBA. Because if everybody just wants to team up and play for one team and make this one super team that's so much better than everyone else, wasn't that what we all complained about in the NBA, that we didn't like that all these guys were teaming up? Now it's okay in baseball.
Are the Yankees not a super team too? I mean,
but it's different when you have
back to back with Aaron Judge.
Yeah, but I mean, you got all these guys teaming up to sign with one team. That's a little different, right? The Yankees, they traded for Soto, and Soto got traded there, and maybe he'll re-sign the team that traded for him. That's a little different than I'm gonna go join the team I lost to. It's literally Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
it's literally the same thing.
I mean, last off the Dodgers did that big deal with Shohei, and then they signed Yamamoto, just beat everybody. They want somebody. They are the evil empire way more than the Yankees to me. When these big free agent markets, except for Aaron Judge, they're pretty ridiculous.
And I'm going to be honest about another thing, and maybe this is just being familiar with the markets. You can go to the Dodgers, and I don't think you get nearly the negativity and the type of heat. Like, ask Aaron Judge. You got to have a thick skin. He's one of the best players of the franchise. He's going to creep up into their all-time list, right? He's going to be up there with the Mazes and the Mantles, and he will get booed at home.
So that's sunshine and Botox, Maggie.
Listen, there's plenty of Botox in New York, EJ.
It's true. Not enough sunshine, though.
Not enough sunshine. Plenty of Botox.
Aaron Judge.
We got some plastered smiles.
I want some team to spend over their skis like the Padres were doing. I want somebody to just like the Blue Jays, get $800 million for Juan Soto. That would just amuse me.
What? And then the team's forced to sell?
Yeah, like the Padres are like, yeah, we're going to get all these guys, and then we don't have the money. Some owner out there should be super aggressive.
I think that's the trick about these owners in baseball. They always have the money. They always have the money. Okay, Cowboys next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
On this Thanksgiving Eve, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Just because the Cowboys are out of the playoff race doesn't mean Jerry has stopped saying crazy things. The latest, Pearl, well, it's about his head coach, Mike McCarthy. So Here's Jerry Jones. He's on 105.3, the Fan in Dallas, which is a sister station of ours. Jerry Jones was asked, would it be crazy to think about bringing Mike McCarthy back? Now, let's not forget, he's a lame duck coach, final year of his contract, but would it be crazy to bring him back? Let's hear what Jerry said.
Well, I don't think that's crazy at all. That's not crazy. And listen, Mike McCarthy is an outstanding coach. I was listening to the game last night, watching it, and Aikman was talking about it, and he's reiterated that several times publicly. This Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah, Troy Aikman did say that. More from Jerry.
It's factually true as well.
He is a good coach.
No, he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
That part, the good coach part, I'm not going to sign off on. The Super Bowl, I will sign off. I was there.
More, yeah, we were both there. More from Jerry on Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy has been there, done that. He's got great ideas. So bottom line is that in no place in my body language or anything else have you seen indications about what we're going to be doing relative to this staff at the end of this year.
Okay, so Jerry holding this close to the vest. And listen, you still have, 6 games to go. So in some ways, this is actually smart PR from Jerry. You don't need more distractions. You've already got Micah Parsons' podcast and all the other things that have happened this season. Your quarterback's hurt. You got all these injuries all over the place. So why make it worse? So here was Mike McCarthy yesterday at his press conference having a little fun when he was asked about Jerry's comments.
Well, I mean, I really haven't talked about it all year. So, I mean, definitely not going to start on a short week in an important division game. But I'm not going to throw away positive vibes either. So I'll keep them coming. But that's all good. But no, yeah, that's not something I'm really focused on.
Yeah. I mean, listen, good response. He also said, why are you guys laughing? What's so crazy about that? There's sort of this wink and a nod that everyone knows the season has not gone really well. Can I tell you what I think's at play here?
Sure.
Okay. I think that there maybe is a shot that Mike McCarthy does end up surviving as the Dallas Cowboys head coach. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
We had Shireen Williams on last week, who has been covering the Cowboys for 30 years. And 2 things she said that have stayed with me. Number 1, Jerry doesn't want to be upstaged. We all know that. So Bill Belichick is out the window if it's going to be a power struggle. Mm-hmm. Jerry doesn't want to do a power struggle. It did that with Jimmy Johnson all those years ago. Not doing that again. His show, his team, his way, or nothing. So Belichick, not going to happen. Number 2, Jerry, I don't think wants to pay a coach a lot. So the Sean Payton type of contract where you can feel like you have leverage over Jerry, like I don't think Mike Vrabel can come in and start demanding $100 million. I don't even know if he would. Or I don't think you can be, a coach who comes in and says, I'm going to name the number on Jerry Jones. And so I think he's using Mike McCarthy here in his back pocket as just a little bit of leverage. Like, hey, I don't need any of you. I'll just go back to Mike McCarthy. I don't need to be whining and dining the likes of a Ben Johnson or a Cliff Kingsbury or whoever might be on the short list here for Jerry.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get in that game where he's going to name the number. And if everyone doesn't like it, I'll bring back Mike McCarthy.
He would definitely wine and dine Cliff Kingsbury, regardless of whether he wanted to hire him as a coach. He'd love to party with Cliff. Are you kidding me? They'd go to Vegas and show up 3 days later.
Hollywood Kingsbury.
The issue with Jerry Jones is he kept Jason Garrett for 10 and a half years, who was good, not great. Like, they kept having winning records, but they couldn't win at the highest level. So I think people think he's going to get stuck in the same rut with Mike McCarthy. He just wants someone he's familiar with and someone he likes. It feels like Jerry and Steven, no discount him, they want friends in these positions. There's one exception, right? We all know the exception was when he hired Bill Parcells.
Sure.
He was, I think, as I understand the story, he was trying to get the stadium built, and he knew he had to have a winning season. So he brought in Parcells. Now, I wonder if there's a sense of desperation because the dude is 82 years old. Like, would he go out of character and hire a guy who could share the spotlight? Like, I think that if he's in character, you're right. He'll possibly bring back Mike McCarthy. Is he looking at this and be like, I have to act quickly to do? I think there's a chance that he acts desperately this offseason. Desperate for him, logically to most other owners.
So that's Belichick.
I think Belichick would be obviously the new Parcells, or maybe a little like Belichick light with Vrabel.
See, I think that Jerry Jones has such a big ego that he would think he knows better than even a Mike Vrabel.
Could be.
Mike Vrabel hasn't won a Super Bowl, right? And they always talk about McCarthy. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach, and they constantly put his bona fides out there, which is fair. That's the right thing to do. He has earned that. But I don't think that Jerry would say Mike Vrabel, who got the Tennessee Titans to a 1 seed and then blew it, I don't think he's going to say, you deserve to get the keys to the kingdom here. And Belichick, I think, would be the only one who maybe in Jerry's mind could be on like equal footing with Jerry. Like, I think this is the way Jones thinks. And he's not going to do that. And I don't think there's like the desperation to win the title at 83 years old. To me, I don't see it, or else they would have made changes at 80 and 81 and 82. Like, that doesn't, I don't think factors.
McCarthy was 12-5. You don't fire most times. You don't fire a 12-5 coach.
I know, but were we not surprised that McCarthy survived after the Green Bay disaster?
We were somewhat surprised, but listen, they were 12-5, and we were like, "Oh, they're going to fire this guy." Now they're nowhere near 12-5. So to bring him back on a new contract, it's a little bit of different calculus than last year. The thing about the key for Jerry is he's got to have that guy over his house and enjoy dinner with him. And Vrabel can bro out with anybody.
Okay.
I think Vrabel will be a fun dinner partner. Maybe I don't think it's about respect or anything like that. I think it's about comfort personally. I think he's a very relationship heavy guy. I think who could come on the bus. I mean, I think he would fall in love with Cliff. Cliff's like a combination of McCarthy. He's got McCarthy's offensive chops and Jason Garrett's sort of hangout ability with Jerry. I don't know. I have no idea, but Jerry Jones, maybe I'm using my logic. Like, he's got to look at different coaches this offseason.
I just can't imagine that your head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, who you're trying to get to win a Super Bowl, right? We're here to win. That's the whole point, would be the vibes guy. And by the way, I don't think Mike McCarthy is probably that unfun to hang out with. He seems like a pretty good time.
That's why he's the coach of the Cowboys.
Well, I'm just saying, this is my whole thing about how he could just keep McCarthy. I don't think it necessarily has to be a change of the vibes, and it's definitely not going to be a handing over of the keys.
This all goes down to, did Steven share a six-pack with Mike Vrabel at an owner's meeting one time?
But here's another part. Just take this on its face. I know Mike McCarthy's stock is very low right now as far as a head coach. But we talk about, are you closer to a title or further away? Are you closer to a title with Cliff Kingsbury as your head coach over Mike McCarthy?
Well, I don't think they're hiring. Kingsbury, I don't think is a logical choice.
Vrabel.
Yeah, you're definitely.
Why?
Because your biggest problem is your run defense. Like, you're not a tough team.
Okay, well, that's on the front office. Okay, that can be on coaching, but to be honest, Mike Zimmer could stop the run for 25 years, and all of a sudden he can't now. I think it's a little because Eric Kendricks was their biggest, free agent acquisition at the linebacker corps.
Nah, I can't buy that. I think a different coach would do better with this roster than McCarthy right now.
Do you think Mike Vrabel, with the amount of injuries they've had on the defense?
Yeah, but those guys all come back next year. Yeah, Vrabel.
But do you think Vrabel would have them? Do you think Vrabel right now, the team would be better than 4-7?
Yes.
Why?
It'd be way tougher. I just think that.
But with all the injuries, like, Mike Vrabel can't keep everybody healthy. That's not, a coach doesn't have a magic wand.
Yeah, I mean, I just think early in the season when the Saints just ran all over them, I don't think that's happening to Mike Vrabel. No, I generally do, and I don't think that they're a Super Bowl team, but yeah, I think they were a little better this year. I think their defense has underperformed even with the injuries.
Last year, Mike Vrabel was 6-11.
Yeah. I mean, in Tennessee.
Okay, he was 7-10 the year before
Look
that.
at Tennessee this year. They're terrible.
I don't know.
And that's a front office who's made way more mistakes than even Dallas. Tennessee has been a disaster drafting and signing guys.
From Mike Vrabel, I believe, has 2 double-digit win seasons. And he's in a conference that, by the way, is not exactly gangbusters.
Put up the poll, EJ. Who would you rather have as a Cowboys coach next year if you're a Cowboys fan? Mike Vrabel or Mike McCarthy?
Of course, Vrabel's going to win this by a long shot.
But why? Why do you think that is?
Because I think that people are prisoner of the moment, and I think that Mike McCarthy has been painted a fool, and I think that people are blaming Mike McCarthy for this bad season when, to be fair, you probably should have blamed Jerry, because this team has no depth, and we know Mike McCarthy has no say on personnel.
I think the key is that wild card game. You could just see the Cowboys came out nervous and uninspired.
Okay.
He did not fire up his team in any way. He did not give them any confidence. I mean, listen, I don't know what Vrabel's like in the locker room, but I just cannot say it's like that's not happening with the Mike Vrabel team. They are not coming out and just being terrified of the other team.
I watched them lose to the Bengals at home, the Titans. I saw them have a 1 seed, and I saw Joe Burrow, who, yes, they ended up going to the Super Bowl that year, but they sliced
through. That was a great team.
They sliced through the Titans. The Titans were the number 1 seed. They sliced through the Titans, and that wasn't even like a thing.
Wasn't it just a bunch of field goals in that game? That was that sliced through. I don't know about that. I think that was a low scoring. The Titans' offense stunk. That was the whole issue.
They got the 1 seed. They're not supposed to win a game at home.
Yeah, but that I understand. But that was a really, really good.
And that wasn't legend. That wasn't legend of Joe Burrow. That helped create the legend of Joe Burrow.
He got sacked 10 times that game. He wasn't even that great in that game. It was
1916. I remember it was a field goal. I watched that game in a bar because I was waiting for my daughter. That was an ugly, ugly game. But that's what Vrabel will do. He's going to play defense, which is kind of what I think it's different than McCarthy. Maybe taking you want a different style after you have this West Coast offensive guru, bring in the tough guy defense and hope that the offense with all that money you're spending on Dak will work out.
Yeah, I guess here's the question. Is it better to not make the playoffs or is it better to lose? Because I also watched the Titans lose to the Ravens in the wild card. Where's my Mike Vrabel signature win?
It's definitely better
beating Belichick in the playoffs. That's why I think that's why he's in this conversation. Otherwise, I agree with you.
And by the way,
he's an anonymous coach.
That was Brady's last game in Foxborough. That was the most vulnerable Patriots team that's ever existed.
Oh yeah,
the most.
I mean, personally, I would go with Belichick first, and I'm not even sure I would want Vrabel, but. Yeah, I think there are upgrades over where McCarthy is right now. And it's not even McCarthy. His message is clearly not landing.
I don't know if the message isn't landing or if it's just the team is not as good as the 49ers. He might not be as good of a coach as Kyle Shanahan, but is that a crime? I don't know. And they laid an egg in a playoff game. They totally did. But to your point, they keep having 12-win season after 12-win season. And I haven't seen Mike Vrabel, listen.
I mean,
you played the AFC Championship game. You lost to the Chiefs.
And the biggest offseason move was losing Dan Quinn because their defense went from top 10 to bottom.
I know, but think about it. 8. No one could wait to get him out of town after the Packers ran all over you and after everyone ran all over you.
Well, he did get a head coaching job. I mean, it's not like he was.
Because Ben Johnson said no. And I think Dan Quinn's doing a good job. It's not that. I'm just saying, let's not. Dan Quinn was out on the market for years. Remember, we thought he was getting the Broncos head coaching job, and he didn't get that. And then I don't think he was getting this Commanders head coaching job until Johnson said no. So,
I mean, anyone in Dallas will tell you it's a massive downgrade coaching that defense.
Well, okay, but there's another part of this that I think Jerry also has to be blamed for, which is you have Mike McCarthy going into his final year of his deal. He's a lame duck coach. What great coach is hiring buying a ticket on the Titanic? Mike Zimmer took this job probably because maybe the Minnesota Vikings money ran out and he could afford to take a 1-year flyer. If you're a really good coach, you're not just going to jump aboard on a lame duck coach because if it goes wrong, you're all getting fired at the end of the year. Mike Zimmer's not going to hang on.
regardless, I mean, obviously, like that, to me, that's got to be the biggest difference. But I think a coach like Vrabel or Belichick, like, there are a lot of pieces on that defense. If they're all healthy, I don't know if DeMarcus Lawrence is coming back, but you got Parsons, you got Overshawn, I think is going to be a superstar. Sam Williams will come back. Nealon will come back. They have the 2 cornerbacks. Like, there's a lot of, can you imagine Belichick, like, sort of getting his hands in there and figuring out some things? They could be a good defense. They're a terrible defense.
But do you think Belichick's getting hired? Because of Jerry's ego?
I don't think so. But I think if Bill Belichick has a choice between Jacksonville and Dallas, and if Jerry did offer him that, I think Dallas might be an attractive offer. I think there's a little more talent there than, say, a Jacksonville. But you're right. I don't know if Jerry does that. I mean, the history of Jerry does not indicate that he will do that. No. But, listen, maybe I'm sounding like a Cowboy fan. It's obviously time for a different approach.
855-212-4227. Sean's our pal in Oregon who's a happy Dodger fan this morning and wants to weigh in on the Cowboys as well. What's up, Sean?
I'm loving it. It feels like early Christmas present.
You got Blake Snell wrapped up right under the tree for you.
I'm loving it. I couldn't believe what I heard this morning.
Sean, I've never heard you this happy before.
I know it.
Wait, do you think he'll be hurt in May or June, Sean? What's the prognosis on that?
What's that?
Will he be hurt in May or June? What's the latest? And will it matter at all?
It won't. That's why the Dodgers are stockpiling.
Yeah.
And it's good to do that, brother. I'm going to call defend a little bit on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about he's a lame duck coach. Well, that lame duck coach went into Pittsburgh, his hometown, and got a win. And then he went up there, and nobody thought he was. I wonder how many people lost money on that Redskins and Cowboys game.
Yeah, 10.5 point spread in that game.
I watched him take the top off Dan Quinn's defense is what I watched him do.
Yeah, that was the wildest, weirdest game that we've probably had all season. But to be fair, yeah, I mean, he definitely beat Dan Quinn. They had the big win in Pittsburgh. I don't think Mike McCarthy, I know this, I'm going to get skewered for saying this. I don't think he's a bad coach.
And do you think he was the one saying we got to have Zeke Elliott back?
Well, definitely
Jerry
not.
Jones, he's one of my favorite owners because he treats his guys good to a fault sometimes. He rides and dies with his people. And I'm kind of like him a little bit because, like, I go, if I don't like my boss or I don't like my coworkers, I won't work with you. If my boss doesn't invite me over for dinner once in a while, invite me over to any kind of a gathering, I won't work for him.
Mm.
I won't do it.
So you want to have that close relationship.
I said, are we going to have a Christmas party this year? The guy said, he says, we don't have Christmas parties. I said, well, you do now. And everybody from the company came to my house.
Well, that's nice of you to host. What'd you serve?
I served a lot of beer.
Sean, you keep doing that, you're going to be the boss. You're going to be the most popular guy in the office. Can we put that poll up? Do you want to have dinner with your boss? Because I bet there's a lot of people who heard that Perloff and was like, I would much rather, like, having dinner with your boss feels like a burden. Like, oh, now I got to be all smiley and I've got to be on. And that could be nerve-wracking for people too. Do you like to socialize with your bosses?
Well, the way he worded it made sense. Like, you want your boss to embrace everybody.
Right.
Yeah, I would think, would you rather be, if you had a choice, I have a boss who does not want to go to dinner with me, or I have a boss who does want to go to dinner with me, I would take the boss who does want to go to dinner with me.
Right. That's a good sign when your bosses want to hang out with you. I get that. But from your point of view, sometimes it can feel like a burden to have to hang out with your boss.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I like the Michael Scott, let's be a big family, occasionally do some sort of role-playing game like The Office. No. You definitely want your boss to, like, feel like, hey, this is more than just a job. Mm. Right.
D is in Oregon. D, do you want to go to dinner with your boss?
As much as he's a cool guy and we talk, no, I don't go to any of those functions. I already spent enough time with him as is, 40 to 45 hours, sometimes 50. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
Cowboys. I'm gonna tell you guys something right now, and we're going through the same thing with the whole Blazers. If the top ownership and the GM, if that's messed up, you will never win a championship, ever. And that's what the Blazers are going right now. Cowboys, the same thing. I'm telling you, they're never going to freaking win. And, hey, as an Eagles fan, That's fine by me. Do whatever you guys got to do, because you guys are always going to suck. Always.
My gosh. D, thank you.
I mean, these are straight facts.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's arguing. D, I'm sorry. Like, that's not even a two-way conversation. Everybody agrees that Jerry will never win a Super Bowl.
I'm trying to think who's a bad ownership that won a championship. There's been some.
You could argue that Laker was a bad owner, and then he got lucky.
Interesting. He claims he's light years ahead on everybody, though.
Wait. You said
People
Joe
like
Lacob?
him, I thought.
Get out of here.
Joe Lacob, before the Steph Curry stuff, he got booed out of the arena when he tried to talk to the fans.
Well, that was because there was they really love Monte Ellis.
I read this book about how they redefined that franchise. Like, they are the cutting edge.
I thought the Larry Ellison years were the really bad ones for the Warriors.
I'm saying that Lacob was not popular before. I'm not saying he's a bad owner.
Right,
I'm saying
he was
who
unpopular.
was a bad owner
Sure.
who won a title. I'm saying the Bay Area was not happy with Joe Lacob prior to the Steph Curry era. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
We were asking who a bad owner. There's other guys, I think.
That's what I'm trying to
Is
think.
Lacob one of the top 5 owners the last 20 years?
Probably. My argument is not to say that. I'm not arguing that he's bad now.
He changed his tune, just like Dolan will with you Knicks fans.
Right. Hopefully. Or
No.
Rangers
That's the
sweatshirts
difference.
today.
Like, Lacob had just gotten there, and he was trying to build this sort of technologically based system. Dolan has been doing this for 25 years. I mean, so, like, Jerry Jones has been doing this for 30 years. Like, some of these owners will not change their ways. That's a great. Is anybody who's like a stubborn owner who wants to have his hands on the thing? Is this ever work?
I think a lot of people don't believe that George Steinbrenner was a great owner. Some people do, some people don't. Obviously, he had a lot of issues, George Steinbrenner, and put together a championship team when he was banned from baseball. So
greatest owner of all time, most center. I mean, isn't he? Who's a better owner than George Steinbrenner?
Well,
God,
he hired some low-level mafia guy, allegedly, to spy on his own player. And he got banned from baseball for it. Does that make you a good owner?
I'm not a Yankee fan, but is there anyone on earth who wouldn't take George over the current ownership?
Yeah, but George was a mess, too.
Yeah,
George
it was
Steinbrenner
awesome.
was, I know, but that...
A mess who won titles.
But he didn't win the titles until he actually had to go away. He would have traded away Mo. He would have traded away Jeter. He would have done all of that because he's so impetuous.
Well, when he was at the messiest mess of all messes, like that's...
In the 70s?
Yeah, that's when they won the big ones.
The poster child might be Dan Gilbert. That's probably the guy you're looking for. A bad owner who won a title. He's a bad owner.
Yeah, I mean, he's lucky that LeBron kind of forgave him and came back.
Yeah, I mean, basketball, because you only need one superstar. Like, you can overcome an owner. Football, I think it's a little harder.
All right, let's think about this. 855-212-4227. And also, go vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl on X. Do you want to have dinner with your boss? Sean said he won't work for somebody if they're not doing Christmas parties and they're not doing dinner. And then we had D who said, I already put in 40, 45 hours a week with all of you people. I don't want to have dinner. What, do you got to put a suit on for that? Look all smiley? See you guys, too, about Mike McCarthy. 855-212-4227. Should he get another contract as the Cowboys head coach? Maggie and Perloff.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening, because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of shields, guards, and Real Fit products. Boyd in Mississippi. Learn more at depend.com.
You're in a 4.5 minute break. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff. We had a question in the last segment. A bad owner who's won a title. I got a lot of close calls.
Share.
Jerry Richardson came real close with the Panthers multiple times.
Yeah, that guy.
He was not a great owner.
No, you can't ask a woman who works for you if you can shave her legs.
And
FYI.
If Aaron Donald hadn't gone completely insane in the fourth quarter against the Bengals, then Mike Brown would have came home with a title in Cincinnati. She could come close. I'm looking at football. See, I think like basketball is a cheat code because if you just happen to be in the hometown of LeBron James, you could win a title. And also, too, I don't really love the Bulls ownership when Jordan was there.
Yeah, the Reinsdorfs.
Yeah, he won a lot of titles.
I want to say Krause, but I had to tell him it was Reinsdorf. He's he was pretty bad, too. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, so I think basketball, because the players have such an impact. Football, it is tough. Interventionist owners do not do well. So I don't know. I think, I agree with that caller who said Jerry's probably not going to win a title.
I mean, it starts from the top down. Yeah, another one. Well, that one was...
He was a young Jerry Jones. He was still learning. I feel like we separate that from what's going on right now.
Keep them coming. Bad owners to win titles. And then also, poll question for you. Do you want to have dinner with your boss? I think we're going to be pretty split down the middle. Dan is in Central California. Dan, do you want to have dinner with your boss?
Maggie, I agree with you on this one. I worked for a guy for about 4 years. It was a garage door sales company, about 25 employees or so. I was an outside salesman. And he had a big gathering out of this country, kind of a state, 10 miles out of town in the Central Valley, home of a lot of commercial crops. But I really didn't want to go, but I felt obligated because I was an employee. So he was the guy, I wouldn't want to hang out with him and have a beer and watch a game, So I just felt like I just was obligated.
Yeah.
To
You
be
weren't
there.
you weren't running towards it, Dan. I get it. I think it's always a good sign when your boss wants to hang out with you. That's probably a good thing. Probably not great when your boss is avoiding you. That's just, that's just the way of the world. But, sometimes you feel like, all right, when I'm on my personal time, I just want to chill. I don't want to have to feel like I'm putting on, my company face. But some companies aren't like that. Some are very casual.
Well, obviously, I'm hearing you don't want to go to dinner.
I
with
love
our
going to dinner with our bosses.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that way.
I do. We had great dinners with all of our bosses. I've had really good relationship. You and I just went to lunch with our old boss the other day.
Yeah,
that was super fun. I put that together. I love going to. I just get what people are talking about when some don't want to.
I'm just getting the sense, I don't know, are there a lot of people secretly that you want to go to dinner with? I feel like
I would have loved to go to dinner with Dan
I feel like
Patrick.
dinner feels like a burden to you in some situations.
Well, our
And
schedules.
by the way, I relate.
Our schedules. We eat dinner at 5:30. We wake up really early, so.
No,
it's
that's
more
not
like
true.
a
Yeah, when we're
lunch.
on the road, you do go to dinners with people.
Of course I do. I pick up the tab. I love going to dinner. It's not that. I just get where people are coming from. You already work a lot, especially as I said, Dan, he's in sales. His whole thing is about having to take people out and wine them and dine them. And, you might just not want to do that on your personal time.
I hear you. No, it makes sense.
But how are dinners with Dan Patrick? I feel like that's great
Well, Dan
because you get
wasn't
all
really-
Dan's stories.
Dan wasn't really, until the end, was not technically my boss. We had these massive dinners with gigantic executives that were super stressful.
Yeah.
Like the head of
exactly.
Fox, and it would be like, we'd be at a steakhouse, and
Order the salad.
I'd be like, "Can you tell me about this lemon pepper chicken?" And they'd look at me like I was insane.
Getting the mutton chops.
Yeah, and then AT&T ran the Dan Patrick Show for a long time, so there'd be gigantic AT&T executives who are on a different vibe altogether. But I was kind of a PI. When you have Dan, was the protection to all of us. Dan was amazing. It's like at the end of the day, Dan Patrick did an incredible job of shielding us from these kind of bosses. Like, I think when you bosses like businessy boss, like high end, like the bean counters. Dan was never like that.
Got it.
Yeah. But we definitely one was like, this guy is the vice president of North America and AT&T, and he's sitting here right next to you.
Yeah.
He's probably worth about $250 million.
Yeah, those things can be very stressful.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
A
And
couple of those at Sports Illustrated. It's like, oh, so what do you do? It's like, I own Qantas Airlines. It's like, wow, all right. How about them Cowboys?
So you shouldn't break the ice by saying, "Can I hold $1?"
No, EJ, you're not getting invited back if you say, can I hold $1?
Like, what if the big boss at Odyssey invited us to dinner? Would you guys be nervous or would you be excited?
I've been around the big boss at Odyssey on a social event, and he was very comfortable and made everyone feel very nice.
Okay.
So
that's
that
good.
helped.
I would like to do that dinner in Philly. That'd be amazing.
Yep. It was not in Philly, but sure.
Yeah, no.
Bogusch, what do you think? You want to go with the big muckety mucks?
Yeah, no thanks. I get there are media bosses around here, yes, but I would not be comfortable at a David Field head of Odyssey dinner.
He's very nice.
I'm sure he is, but I've apparently walked past him in this hallway not known who he was, so
That's on you.
100%.
Did he know who you were?
Of course not.
But Ryan and Dave are media bosses here. Like, they're a delight. That would be fun.
That's
to go out
easy
with them.
Yes.
Well, I mean, Dave, there'd be some issues because he laughs so loudly. Like you'd have
That
to
is
be,
true.
you have to be in a corner of the restaurant.
Dave has given me amazing restaurant recommendations. So I would love to go to dinner with Dave Marinick and his wife.
Yeah, but okay. Is this whole thing about trying to get a free dinner out of the bosses, Maggie?
Yeah, actually, that's why I brought this topic up.
Shut up, Dave.
Sean is the one who brought it up because he was saying he wouldn't work for somebody who doesn't invite him over. And I think that gives other people kind of anxiety. Like,
I do think the big boss, and I'm going to once again channel Michael Scott from The Office, like you do have to make the effort to at least pretend that, hey, this is all fun and I'm going to take you out to dinner. Like if you were the boss, wouldn't you extend that kind of invite? I think
Absolutely.
it's important. Like
you can never reject it too.
But I would not judge somebody for not showing up.
Yeah. I mean, remember when you and I took the whole staff to breakfast a year and a half ago and Pete Bellotti ordered too much and we had to decide we're never doing that again?
Well, there's one big difference there. We're not the boss.
I'm a great time.
I'm just kidding. Pete did not order too much.
No, it was
great. Actually EJ with the fresh squeezed orange juice.
He'll never live that down.
Gosh.
Tyler
You lost a bet, dude.
is in San Francisco. Tyler, what do you think? Dinner with your boss? Yes or no?
Well, he is actually taking our company, about a company of 25 people, to a Niners game, and on the 30th, so it's a Monday Night Football game.
Nice.
And I actually said no because it's just because it's become too much, and I just don't want to see my coworkers after work, and I'd rather turn that down and just hang out at home with my friends and my wife and everything and watch the game instead of going to the game.
So this one has nothing to do with the boss. You just don't want to be watching the game with everyone at work.
I love my boss. He's a great boss, and I like the people I work with, but I just don't want to hang out with them after work.
Yeah.
Wait, Tyler, if the Niners were healthy and playing better, would that be a different answer?
No, I just don't. I've been invited to other company things, and I've always just said no. I just don't want to do it. Nothing personal.
It's not about Brandon Ayuk. It's about bill and accounting.
No, like Bob. He's a guy.
Bob might have to get out there and suit up if the 49ers have a lot more injuries. Tyler, thank you.
Yeah.
Totally understand where you're coming from.
Bob, how was the weekend? What'd you do? Yeah.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, we don't have that problem here because we all like each other, but I get it.
We're also all sports fans, so going to a game would probably be awesome.
It helps.
Yeah.
I mean, you and Perloff sat courtside at a Knicks game together.
I am not like you guys. I totally do not buy on this take. I like people. I enjoy being around people. I think you guys are all sort of curmudgeons.
Well,
everyone in this room except for me.
We have some evidence to the contrary because Bogusch has offered multiple times to travel with you to San Antonio, and you keep saying
that's a 30-hour trip. That's one thing to go out for drinks after the show. It's
I'm going to
another.
be honest. You go to a Nets game, you're going to feel like you were there for 30 hours. Some of these sporting events are pretty bleak.
When bus jama?
Our friendship, I've tried, as Maggie said, whether it's been San Antonio or a sandwich for lunch. I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
You suck, Bogusch. When have you asked me to go for a sandwich for lunch?
Just about to.
Until this segment.
Yeah. Are you free tomorrow?
Yeah.
Told you.
You never asked me to go.
Another denial.
What if you've never asked me to go to a Dave Matthews Band concert with you? Like there was one last weekend.
I would not bring you to that. Judging based on your questions of me going to other ones about drugs and social media presence and stuff like that, you're not allowed.
Can you imagine going to a Dave Matthews Band concert with Perloff, just judging?
Oh
He's
my
just
God.
on his phone the whole time.
Yeah,
You'd
he
be terrible.
called us curmudgeons. Oh my gosh, that hypothetical, I can't even imagine.
Crash into you. Does he open and end with that song Crash? Or
does not?
Or the song that sounds like Crash?
Nope.
I've actually met Dave Matthews. Super cool guy.
I'm sure you have.
He was at dinner with Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he said no to that dinner.
I think I was at a dinner with Dave Matthews because he was part of the Sandler crew.
Right. What was the movie that he was in?
He was in Just My... Wow, my God. He's the one where Brooklyn Decker and Jennifer Aniston are vying for Adam Sandler's love. By the way, Adam Sandler, God bless him.
This dude, it's not even like hidden.
And this is like, and guess who? Dave Matthews is married to Nicole Kidman, and that's a subplot
right.
of this. And I think he's been in a couple others since then. Dave loves Sandman. And sorry, next time that actually I haven't gotten an invite to any Sandler event since I left the Dan Patrick Show. Funny how that works. But I will invite you if Dave Matthews is.
What about a Knicks game?
I've invited. Well,
You did. Perloff offered Rangers tickets. You guys couldn't take them.
Oh, that's true.
We are the New York Knicks.
That's
But I
true.
understand you have a tough commute to
That's
get
on
into
us.
games. Games are tough when you're around New York. It's hard to get around. It's not like it's right downtown.
And coming back in the city's a pain. But that we did drop the ball on that. That was a bad pull by me. You tried. Although, were you going to come with us, or are you just going to give us tickets to leave you alone?
I would definitely come with you. So I have a question. I often, thanks to our really dear friend of the show, Dr. Rock Positano, sometimes gives us really good Knicks tickets. Should I take Manny to the next game?
Oh, wait, hold on. These are very precious tickets.
Yeah, close to front row.
To the point where I can't go because
You can't sit in any seats.
I can't sit in any seat. But technically, I couldn't be there. Like, I would put the tickets in jeopardy, even though I wouldn't say a word, but just by my pure existence, because I have a dicey relationship with James Dolan.
Yes. He's a fragile op, as Drake said.
Sure. Manny, we got to make sure, can Manny hold and, like, can he stay cool in these tickets?
The answer is no.
You got to maintain a certain level of professionalism, I'm sorry, to keep these Rock Positano tickets. You can't mess around. Manny, can we trust you?
But yeah, no, I think you're allowed to go crazy for the Knicks, though. But if they start to lose and you start to yell curse words, that would be bad.
You can't curse out OG Anunoby.
Oh, I would never do that.
Ask for RJ Barrett back.
Yeah, you can't start a "We want RJ" chant.
I have started to sell the team chant before.
That won't work. I will definitely get you out of there.
I mean, you read his angry tweets. Those were his tweets
He's
from
going
his
after
house.
Brunson. He's going after the captain.
He had some not safe for work ones, too.
Imagine what he would say about Karl Anthony Towns if he goes like 1 for 11.
I would use another word for cat.
Can't do it, Manny. I think you're talking yourself out of the tickets.
God, this is the image of EJ sitting next to James Dolan for an entire game was one of the funniest interactions.
Talk about being scared.
It was so funny because the first half, Pearl didn't know. It was like he was asking me these questions, and I'm like, I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to give a really standard weird answer. And Pearl was like, why is he being weird?
I didn't see Dolan. I literally did not see that he was sitting right next to you.
There's a joke there that I'm not going to make.
Yeah, that was hysterical. Was he was actually right next to you, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry I put you on that spot. Yeah, I'm like, what do you think the Knicks should do in free agency? You're like, I don't know, but they do nothing but smart moves. I'm like, really?
That was, no, seriously.
Best front office ever.
This was definitely like the what if EJ was kidnapped and hijacked, the things he would say. These were the answers I was giving to Perloff the entire first half of that Knicks game.
I did, by the way.
What do you think of Julius Randle? I think he's a hard-nosed player.
I love him.
EJ's the
I'm
best.
name my firstborn after him.
EJ's amazing to go to games with because he can tell you the history of every shoe deal on the court. I'm like, what's that multicolored one? And he's like, well, Kelly Oubre signed that deal in China in 2022. He is a encyclopedia of what's going on. Dude, you do know your NBA. You're very fun to go to a game with. I understand now that you were super nervous about sitting next to the owner.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We've done nothing there in terms of Bogusch's update. This is the one thing that makes Bogusch the most mad. Bogusch. And we've just done it to you.
So untrue.
And we ripped
on a
DMB.
Thanksgiving Eve. Yeah, and ripping Dave Matthews Band.
I'm numb to that. Losers.
We earned that. All right, hang around with us. Someone lock the door. Bogusch can't leave. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Little Dave Matthews Band for Bogusch, who saw Dave Matthews 2 nights in a row.
Could have been 3.
If it wasn't for those damn kids, like, well, it would have
No,
been
it wasn't for damn Fordham Drexel basketball.
Oh, jeez.
Woof.
Yeah.
New York City against Philadelphia right there.
Yeah, and Philly won. Double woof.
Who was the guy on the Spurs who went to Drexel? Malik Rose. Good Drexel player.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a Drexel pro. I think that's the only one.
He might be the last
Is there
one.
any Fordham guys in the NBA ever?
Ever? Yes. Smush Parker most recently.
Oh, yeah.
Is he ever going to become a referee, by the way?
He is a referee. He's not a top flight college ref yet. But he is a referee.
Like my buddy Eddie Malloy, former teammate of mine.
Yeah, but did
Screws up every finals call.
Did Kobe Bryant ever go after Ed Malloy? Well, probably a couple times.
Definitely.
Yeah, probably.
They definitely played.
Because Kobe had some serious beef with Smush Parker. Okay, we never got to Bogusch's update because we were too busy talking about whether or not you like going to dinner with your boss, which is also a poll question that you can vote on at Maggie and Pearl. While you're there, you can also watch the show if you click on my avatar. Bogusch, what's up?
We've got headlines sponsored by Mint Mobile. Switch and get half off unlimited premium wireless at mintmobile.com/score. One of the bigger questions entering last weekend was what would happen to Indiana in the CFP if they lost to Ohio State, which they did. And when the new rankings came out last night, those Hoosiers had fallen from 5th to 10th. Selection Committee Chair Ward Manuel on ESPN.
They played well at times against Ohio State, and Ohio State pulled out a victory and really came on in the second half of that game. But we were impressed with some of the things that Indiana did. And they dropped 5, but we still felt that their body of work was strong enough to remain in the top 10.
Indiana would play at Penn State in the new projected bracket. The other first-round matchups would be Notre Dame, SMU, Georgia, Tennessee, and Ohio State, Arizona State. The Sun Devils ranked 16th but seeded 12th as the Big 12 leader. Clemson and Alabama, the first teams out of the field. Oregon, Texas, Miami, Boise State, again getting first-round byes. Away from all of that, North Carolina fired Mac Brown yesterday, the day after he said he intended to coach the Tar Heels again next season. Brown will coach them in Saturday's rivalry game with NC State. North Carolina men's basketball, an 85-72 loss to fourth-ranked Auburn in the Maui Invitational semifinals last night. The Tigers got 23 points, 19 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks from Johnny Broom. Top-ranked Kansas held off number 11 Duke, 75-72 in Vegas. Jayhawks center Hunter Dickinson, 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 ejection for a flagrant 2. He kicked at a Duke player while they were on the court after going for a rebound. Maybe the Milwaukee Bucks have figured things out. Winners of 5 in a row after last night's 106-103 NBA Cup win in Miami. Damian Lillard, 37 points, 12 assists as his team returned to 500 at 9-9.
Being 2-8 and, not feeling good about it, and our team staying together, us, continuing to fight the fight and look ourselves in the mirror at, what do we need to be better about? What do we need to do to change it? And we've done that.
The Bucks are also 3-0 in NBA Cup group play. They got there last night without Giannis, who was a late scratch with left knee swelling.
Man, how about Doc Rivers could be coach of the year? We don't even need the spin doctor. We haven't even been able to play any of the spin doctor music.
I was about to ask, when do we get a spin doctor segment?
They've been on fire. They don't need the spin doctor.
Yeah.
They needed the spin doctor when they were 2-8, but he wasn't really even doing much then.
Well, I mean, 3-0 in the
right,
whatever the thing is called.
NBA Cup.
Yeah.
Just like sponsored by Emirates.
Could you see my eye roll on radio? Because give me a break. Sponsored by Emirates. Jeez.
The Suns dumped the Lakers last night, 127-100, with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal each scoring 23 in their returns from calf injuries, and the Bulls sent the Wizards to their 12th loss in a row, 127-108. And the first huge name is off the board in MLB free agency. Blake Snell signing with the Dodgers reportedly for 5 years and $182 million with a $56 million signing bonus. This is the 5th 9-figure contract the Dodgers have given out since the start of last offseason. The rest of baseball has given out 5. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Keep them coming on whether or not you would like to have dinner with your boss. We get a couple good ones from the chat. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, where this one comes from. This is Abe Drinkin, one of our faves, loyal contributor to the chat. Said, I once had a boss that invited me and my wife to his home for dinner, and he and his wife got into an argument in the other room because he didn't tell her. Like, these are things you don't want to know about your boss.
That's crazy.
Being invited also to someone's home, a little bit different than just like, hey, let's meet at whatever, Red Lobster. You know?
Yeah. There's a little more pressure there.
I don't think so.
I have a question. Has there ever been a team in history, and we got to get the research, that has more Cy Young winners and MVP winners than the current Dodgers?
I'm sure probably like the, Yankees of
the 50s Yankees, but I mean they've collected a lot of hardware on that team. Doesn't Snell has 2, right?
Snell has 2, one of both leagues.
Yeah, and Clayton Kershaw's got $1 million, and
Freddie Freeman's got MVP. Mookie's got MVP.
Shohei's got 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's so funny. Why do we give the Dodgers a pat? Why aren't we calling them the evil empire?
I think we do raise the bar extremely high on them, but I don't think they just don't get the negativity that the Yankees do.
But why?
Well, because they were losing. They didn't win World Series.
Yankees haven't won since 2009.
But when they were winning.
That's when we hated them.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to win.
Like the Patriots.
Evil empire, yeah.
Huh.
Also, I think there's a difference between the two cities and the two fan bases. I know that the Yankees have fans all over the world. They're kind of a national brand, but I think it tinges a lot towards the negative.
Yeah,
in
and everybody.
LA, I think you kind of, I don't know if you get the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying the fans just are waving pom-poms, but.
Sunny, nice out.
I don't know. You win the division every year.
Yeah.
Like, what are you really complaining about?
You got Mookie Betts, very likable.
I think Dave Roberts was on the hot seat for a while, but they didn't want to fire him, so.
Worked out.
Am I wrong? 855-212-4227. Massive signing that we woke up to today with Blake Snell, as Bogusch said, going to the Dodgers. 5 years, 182. Whew. All right, it's a Wednesday. Around here, we do the Great Debate. Today, something a little holiday themed for y'all. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
take it no more. Just a small town girl, she slams the door. The lights go down and the music starts to play. But Maggie's had enough, she's screaming no way. Sick of the journey and tired of the song. The midnight train, it's been rolling too long. But while she's out here hating on the tune, Peter Bellatti's the one who's gone too soon. Don't stop believing, Pete's not showing up. Hold on to that feeling, yeah, that's not enough. Street light people want, but Peter don't care. He's missing again and there's no one there. Maggie's in the break room, hearing that refrain. Strangers waiting, but Pete's missed his train. She's working hard to get her fill, but Pete's just living life at a standstill. She's searching in the night for Bellatti's excuse, but all she finds is another lame ruse. That midnight train ain't bringing him in. He's just like that song, one way too thin. Don't stop believing, but Pete's still in my day. Hold on to that feeling, he's out for.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Jerry Jones says not crazy that Mike McCarthy could be back next year as the head coach of the Cowboys. And the Villagers swooned. Yeah, that one was a little surprising. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Listen, I think Jerry's keeping Mike McCarthy in his back pocket here. You know, he doesn't want someone, I don't think it'll be Belichick, but another coach coming in and saying, I want this contract and I want this kind of control and trying to make demands on Jerry like he's in some weak position. And I think this is him saying, listen, I'll just bring back McCarthy. You guys, I'm not giving out a $100 million contract. I'm not giving out a Sean Payton type contract. I'm not that desperate. We have a good team, he probably thinks, because of his brilliance in the front office. Of course, Jerry unmatched when it comes to football prowess. Just ask him. And I think he's like, listen, no one's going to come in here and start making demands on me. I'll just go back to Mike McCarthy and things will be as they were. And someone dare me, to try to give Bill Belichick the keys to the kingdom. I don't think that's going to happen.
There might not be anything that makes less sense in all of sports than Jerry Jones not wanting to pay top dollar for a coach. They have the most valuable franchise on planet Earth. Jerry Jones could live for another 100 years and not spend a quarter of his money. What the heck does he get? And by the way, coach money is a joke. It's a drop of the bucket. He's paying his quarterback $60 million a year. Why on earth would he cheap out at coach? That's like when you hear about like these billionaires who won't tip. That makes give me one possible reason he would cheap out it with his coach.
Because I think it's about like the idea of it. Like, because Jerry doesn't like to pay people to not work. This is why he kept Jason Garrett up until the last day of his contract, because he doesn't want to pay people not to work.
What is he? But that is such an opportunity cost that that's cheaping out for no reason whatsoever.
Well, I think because he thinks the bigger thing is not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. And he feels like because he's picking the players, as he will tell you over and over again, the buck stops with him, that the real thing is who's on the roster. And secondarily is who's coaching the team. And I think he really does believe that. And I think if you asked him, what do you give yourself for team building, even in a season that's totally off the rails, he would say he gives himself an A+. And I think that's why he doesn't want to pay a coach.
Do you still think he is holding on this idea that he's making these draft picks? Do you really think that he picked Tyler Guyton and Tyler Smith?
I don't know, but I think he wants to believe he's
grinding offensive lineman tape? I just don't buy any of that. I don't even know. I mean, he's obviously got a full team of people there. He's obviously got Will McClay's a guy who secretly runs all this. I just don't even is he really is so intent on proving that he picked the right guys at this age?
Yes, because if he doesn't have that, what does he have? A stadium where the sun gets in your eyes, or your best receiver, and what else?
He was
3-7 record to show for it.
He was down at Southeast Missouri State talking to the strength coach about Ryan Flournoy. I mean, I just don't understand. Even that, he seems to have pulled back a little bit. He's clearly not picking these linemen left and right. Maybe he's making the decision, this is the direction we should go. But he's not like a traditional GM. Like,
he will tell you that the buck stops with him.
so you think he was
credit.
like, okay, I'm going to take Nathan Thomas, this tackle out of Louisiana in the 7th round. Like, he scouted him?
I don't know
I know
he's
as a
out
fact.
there scouting, but I think that he wants to feel like he's in charge. And listen,
It just reminds
he's the one I think who's also deciding when do we finally sign off on paying these guys. So it might not all be about the draft. There's a lot that goes into building a football team.
I just think back to that draft with Johnny Manziel when it looked like Jerry was sitting in front of a phone that wasn't plugged in as they drafted Zach Martin. And you could just see Jerry like, oh, man, why didn't they let me make this one? Just a little Johnny action. Come on. Come on, guys. Let me make this pick. And they did not.
Okay, but I think that Jerry is the one who's saying, let's let the leaves fall before we decide to give CeeDee Lamb $35 million, or let's let the leaves fall before Dak Prescott. And those things end up making a huge deal and a huge difference. So, yeah, I think Jerry's fingerprints are all over this thing.
I get the ego thing where he would not want a big name coach to get all the credit like Bill Belichick. But the money thing is crazy because what difference does, if he's going to pay Mike McCarthy $8 million compared to Bill Belichick's $20 million, that is nothing to their bottom line at all. They're the richest franchise in all of sports right now.
I think they would tell you otherwise. I think they would say, we don't need a $20 million coach to win. Now, I would think we could say there's evidence to the contrary on that, but I think that's the way they think. 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in on the idea that Mike McCarthy could be back next year. We know this is all the Cowboy fan has right now. You're about to play this Thanksgiving game that's going to be, I mean, credit to the Cowboys. They played an entertaining game last week against the Washington Commanders. It was stupid, but it was fun to watch. I doubt this game's going to have any of that.
You know who he should pay more is the grounds crew at AT&T Stadium because that would be bad on national TV for things to fall off the roof and hit people.
Oh, I forgot about that. The piece of sheet metal that almost
he's
killed
got,
Lisa
he's got a lot
Salters.
going on there. He's got a lot going on. Now, the funny thing is they should probably kill the Giants, which is because as bad as all this is, it's way worse in New York.
It's terrible in New York, but Cooper Rush has landed on the injury report with a shoulder. And I think it's a 3.5. It was 4. I think it opened at 4, and I think it's down to 3.5 point spread.
Is that just the thought that the Giants are going to run the ball effectively? I do not understand. Like, how can the Cowboys not beat up on this Giants team who just got destroyed by Tampa Bay?
Because the Cowboys are beat up themselves. The total in this game is 37. That is NFC South type numbers right there. 855-212-4227. But anyway, that's going to be the middle game on Thanksgiving, as it always is. Cowboys hosting the New York Giants. We'll get more into those Thanksgiving games, but it is a Wednesday. And around here on Wednesdays, we do the Great Debate.
The Great Debate Series.
Okay. Today's Great Debate, of course, we're going to work in the theme of the week. This week, the theme is Thanksgiving. So we ask you, what is the best sports holiday? And by that, we mean the best holiday of which sports is also happening. So not like opening day. Opening day is like a holiday, but that's not a national holiday. Thanksgiving is a national holiday. Christmas is a national holiday, et cetera, et cetera. So what's the best holiday that also has sports going on?
Do you mean the opening day in Korea or the opening day here in America?
Forgot about that.
Yeah, all right, I'll start.
Go ahead.
For me, it's obvious. New Year's Day, college football. Now, it's not the same as it used to be, obviously. But as a kid, just waking up New Year's Day, parking yourself on the couch and seeing an Arkansas team or whoever play in the Gator Bowl, and then you get into the big bowls, and it was just 12 hours of college football. Now we take for granted that there's 7,000 games on, but back then it was really, really cool, and it was really special. And the bowl games actually meant something, not because of the two teams playing, but the name of the bowl. So just if you were in the Cotton Bowl, that meant that it was a big game just by being the Cotton Bowl. That is gone now, but it still, to me, was the most special day on the sports calendar.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the Granddaddy. It's the Rose Bowl. The Buckeyes of Ohio State against the Sun Devils of Arizona State.
By the way, this year, I'm just looking at the schedule. We do get 3 playoff games on January 1st. We get the Peach Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl. Not the same.
Man, nothing beats the Rose Bowl, though.
Yeah, I know that the light.
The sun setting,
yeah.
Pasadena.
They're definitely
Chills.
but it's definitely not what it was Big Ten versus Pac-12 or whatever. That was the best. Yeah, as a kid, though, and I also love, it started at noon. That used to be so cool. I'm like, wow, it's so early. And now, of course, you have Fox Big Noon. But, man, you probably don't even remember when all this used to happen.
The granddaddy of them all, they say, huh?
Man, he's like, I'm going to need some evidence.
Also, too,
I don't believe it.
I'm going to actually harken back to before every game had a sponsor name, too. And they were, called random things, like the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Now it's like, man, are you an expert in the corporate sponsors of bowl games? I feel like that's in your over.
I was back when I was probably in the 7th grade, but no, there's been a lot of changeover since.
Big fan of Beef O'Brady's. I kind of like that there's some new stuff in the mix. Pop-Tarts Bowl, mayonnaise gets a bowl.
The Bad Boy Mowers Bowl is the one here at Yankee Stadium.
Listen,
Outback Bowl.
I'm a lifelong ReliaQuest Bowl fan.
You've always said that.
Yeah.
Okay, the great debate today is asking what's the best sports holiday, but that means a holiday where sports is also going on. And I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit here. Guys, it's tomorrow. It's Thanksgiving. And a couple reasons why Thanksgiving and football on Thanksgiving is the best sports holiday. Thanksgiving doesn't have any of the other distractions that other holidays give you. Like New Year's Day, you might be a little hungover or something like that. You have no presents. It's not like Christmas where you're opening up gifts. It's really just a holiday that's about family. And food, of course. But what do you need for a holiday that's all about family?
An excuse to get away from your family.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
A
You were going there.
distraction. Yes, obviously.
Sorry, I didn't know you were headed there. I didn't mean to jump you.
No, you're right. Exactly. This is why it's the best holiday. Because let's be honest. I don't know if your family's like mine. When we actually sit down to dinner, it takes us about 15 minutes to eat. We're all starving. And the food aspect of this is kind of short when it all comes down to it. And then maybe you get a sandwich later, you're kind of eating throughout the day. But the actual spot at the table is not that long for us.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a lot of kids in our family right now who are little. But you need a distraction. Football is the perfect distraction. You don't want to be distracted on Christmas. You got other things to do. Thanksgiving, we need football on Thanksgiving. It's not just you want it. You need it to get through Thanksgiving sane.
Yes. I love to go check out the game during the 17-minute medical report on all my parents' friends. Well, Larry has a hip issue.
Yeah.
And
It's running down the laundry list of all the...
No, I know. It was actually... but I totally agree. I love the excuse. But my family is not a distraction because you leave the table where they're talking about the Eagles to go watch the Cowboys Giants. And you come back and they might be talking about the Sixers. That's all we talk about is sports.
Just sports only. Yeah, I don't have one of those families. So it's a must distraction.
Uncle Wayne not part of Thanksgiving?
We're not doing Thanksgiving with Uncle Wayne. It's my in-laws, and it's a whole thing. So no, need football on Thanksgiving. That's why it's the best sports holiday. All right, EJ, we got to go.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, first of all, to all of you across the country. This is 21 years we've been sitting together and saying happy Thanksgiving to each other, and I'll say it again to you now.
Oh, look at the size of this turkey. Now, there is a turkey. We got some legs on there. I mean, here's a leg, then we got 3 here, we got 3 here. You got the turkey on the outside, then you stuff the turkey with a duck, and then you stuff the duck with a chicken. So it's tur-duck-in.
Yeah. Maggie wins.
I miss John.
Maggie
so
wins.
much.
That was awesome.
Okay, we got to go quick. We've been taking too much time. EJ, go ahead. The best sports holiday.
So the problem with Thanksgiving, because Maggie is the lead in the clubhouse, I think, is you are saddled with having to watch until a couple years ago, awful Detroit Lions football. For the last 20 years, awful Dallas Cowboy football. So you don't even get the best games on Thanksgiving. Yes, it's football. Yes, it's the NFL. But you got to watch some crappy football to get through the day. I'm going to a day where we're putting the best teams on. We're putting Michael Jordan on. We're putting Kobe Bryant on. We're putting LeBron James on. You're seeing the best of the best in the NBA show up on what is the unofficial start of the NBA season for many. It is the NBA Christmas Day.
Oh, jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to play a game on Christmas Day.
Dashing down the court on a 3-on-1 fast break.
Over the D jumps, dunking all the way.
How do you like that? You
Was that Reggie Miller in there?
You got James Harden, Perloff's favorite. You got Jason Kidd. You got Blake Griffin and Chris Paul singing a weird, random, jumbled up Christmas Day remix of Jingle Bells. It's great basketball. It's great fun. Games on all day. Again, some of the greatest athletes we've seen playing on this day. Some awesome games we've seen. I'm going with NBA on Christmas.
There you go. All right, Manny, quick, what do you got?
Well, my first thought would be the Knicks playing on Martin Luther King Day, but I actually wanted to be placed on the poll today, so I went ahead. What could be better than some apple pie, some fireworks, and some baseball on July 4th? You get basically the entire day, at least when I was growing up. Rob Manfred's trying to play some games, but I digress on that subject. When I was growing up, you had games starting at 1 o'clock. You had the Yankees, you had the Mets, you had all the East Coast games. You watched it, barbecue, hot dogs, hamburgers. You watch the fireworks, you get home, you watch Dodgers, Padres, or Mariners, Rockies if you're into that. Baseball, baby. Baseball on July 4th.
Even better on the radio. Love July 4th baseball on the radio. It's just a tradition. All right, Bogusch, take us home here. The best sports holiday is what?
Because we're good friends, I'm also going to take New Year's Day, but I'm going to go hockey and say the Winter Classic, which has been around, I think, since like 2008. But it is, by all accounts, a huge success for the NHL. It looks great. These beautiful, obviously outdoor, non-hockey arenas. It looks great on TV. It's great to be at, and the league has certainly benefited from it. And it has led to other leagues doing similar games at non-traditional things. It's a great idea by hockey, and it's executed perfectly every year.
You're so right about it. The venues are awesome.
Yeah.
Looks great. Crowds into it.
Kind of cold, but.
A little cold, but
Yeah,
the
it
hockey
happens.
fans. It's okay. Hockey fans are as tough as hockey players.
Can I have an oddball nomination?
Yeah.
My favorite thing is when the Masters ends on Easter Sunday, and we used to go to the same house, and if Tiger was in it, everybody would leave the table, and it was a great excuse. That doesn't count,
Yeah.
but that is always a really cool phenomenon.
So there's a couple of those. I'm sorry, Bogusch, you're about to say something.
I thought about the Masters too, just because it's almost like the unofficial beginning of spring. Too.
Yeah.
Like here, it just feels like we're done with winter once the Masters starts.
Opening day baseball, you could say the same thing
Yes.
too.
Yeah, we get some really cold opening days, but yeah.
Yeah.
When you see the flowers at Augusta, it just
Yeah.
feels like spring's coming. But the other thing, and this is one that's hard to match up, I also love when St. Patrick's Day also lands on a day when like Notre Dame's playing in the NCAA tournament or something like that. Those can be very fun too. But you can't match it up all the time. It's never. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Just great excuses to go to the bar.
Exactly. I'm already there. It's
Now it
great
makes
just
sense.
to stay at the bar. Is what we're going for.
March Madness does feel like a holiday vibe. Like anything you can leave work. Like the opening, some sports are so big, like the Super Bowl and the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament, they feel like holidays unto themselves.
Anytime you're drinking before 11 a.m., you're drinking before 11 a.m.
And now they're trying to move the Super Bowl back to a holiday weekend.
President's
right?
Day weekend.
To President's Day weekend. Yeah. That's happening, right? Or
Not yet. I think when they go to 18-game season, that's the plan.
We're basically going to be there.
that'll take over.
Not that it matters. We're still have to be here that Monday. Everyone else will benefit from.
We love being here. I love being at work the day after the Super Bowl, though. If you don't like being at work that day, you're in the wrong industry.
Well, it depends. It depends. Depends which of us.
All right, let's Dave Matthews is playing his third night in a row at the Guard.
Maggie, depends if the Bills win it all or the Eagles win it all, then we're not going to want to be here on Monday because I assume we'll be up all night. I've been trying to score a ticket to the Eagles party.
The first year we started the show together, the Eagles lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You took a red eye back. We were still doing the afternoon.
Yeah.
And to your credit, you showed up with a brave face on that day.
That was tough. This year is going to be interesting, but you don't want to plan for your team to go to the Super Bowl because you will jinx them. That's fan 101.
Everyone knows that. Okay, 855-212-4227 is the number to call. We're asking what's the greatest sports holiday. So the greatest existing holiday that has sports incorporated to it, I think, is probably an over-explanation. You guys get what I'm talking about. Sports holiday. There we go. M&P. All right, Perloff, I'm going to take this one because I need a distraction from my family tomorrow. Bless them. I love them. But sometimes I need to get away for a minute. And this is where Prize Picks comes in, because Prize Picks is the best way to basically do daily fantasy where you can win up to 100 times your money. All you do is pick 2 or more players across any sport, then pick more or less on their projection, and you can win money. So, Thanksgiving, can I give you a little college football? Can I give you a little NFL? Of course. Anything you want is on the Prize Picks app. Got to download it today.
Do you want to incorporate French food into this? Because somebody won big on Victor Wembanyama last night. Thank you, Wemby. Over 43.5 points and rebounds.
I think it's merci beaucoup.
Prize Picks even have flex pay, so you can still cash out if one of your picks doesn't hit. It's awesome. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code MMP and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code MMP on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Tell them bring another round. We need plenty more.
Welcome back on this Thanksgiving Eve. So glad to have you, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It's Wednesday. Even though it's a holiday Wednesday, we stick to the script here, which is great debates on Wednesdays. And today, what's the greatest sports holiday? By that, we mean the holiday you're celebrating, like, I don't know, Thanksgiving tomorrow, that also incorporates sports. I think Thanksgiving is number one going away because you need the distraction from your family. There's no presents. There's no tree. There's no anything.
Did you maybe pick the wrong year since the prime game, the Cowboys-Giants matchup is terrible?
You're welcome, America.
The fact that the Lions are actually good now is our treat.
Thank God Caleb Williams' season kind of is on the upswing after a downturn.
Also, we get a Lambeau Field at night. This is awesome.
That is such a weird matchup. Like, that is there's a tradition behind the Packers and Dolphins meeting on Thanksgiving.
Throw out the record books when the
way,
Dolphins come to the frozen tundra.
That's a massive game, too. I know we'll get into it later. Like, that's a really important game.
No doubt. So we're asking you, what's the greatest sports holiday? Adrian's our pal in Maryland. Hey, Adrian, how you doing?
Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving to start off. Hey, I think I'm gonna go with Perloff and New Year's Day. You, Maggie.
Oh, Adrian, we lost you.
You hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
All right, you guys. I'm gonna go with New Year's Day because you basically you have no distractions that day. Because if you're hungover, everybody else is hungover. Nobody's calling you or coming over your house and bothering you and asking you questions and this and that. Unlike Thanksgiving, where you got all those people at your house, they're having a million conversations, and there's nothing about sports and things like that. Hey, I want to chime in about this Cowboys thing you were talking about. Perloff, Jerry Jones acts like the coaches are players. He doesn't want to cut them because he doesn't want to lose that money. So he basically treats him as a contractor that comes into your house, does a half butt job, and then you have to fire him and get somebody else. He doesn't want to lose that money. And I told a friend, I said, don't be surprised if Mike McCarthy comes back. First year, Dak got hurt. The next 3 years, he went 12-5. This year, he gets hurt. What team doesn't take a coach that has 3 12-win seasons?
Yeah, Adrian, I think that's what Mike McCarthy is probably hoping for, and that's what Jerry will use to bring him back. The problem is, and you're not wrong on this stuff, and thank you for the call, the problem is you have a couple devastating playoff losses that get sort of yada into the 12-win season.
And I don't think McCarthy gets another job because he'd be a double retread at this point. And I do think that it's easy to sell owners on the new guy, the young guy, the Brian Callahan, the McVay type. I think everybody has this idea it's worth taking a risk on a young guy as compared to an older guy who you know what you're getting.
I think then Kellen Moore probably has an inside track.
Well, I think they probably should have hired Dan Quinn, but I guess the loss to the Packers was so bad. Kellen Moore, you're right, it's a really good one.
I mean, they had to fire him, but I think Jerry loved him. He made Mike McCarthy keep him when Mike McCarthy got hired.
I still had the Texas college guys, Cliff and Lincoln Riley, too. I mean, maybe he looks there. I mean, we forgot about Lincoln Riley because he's not good right now. But you remember that Jerry and him used to be linked together all the time.
Yeah, no doubt. Jeremy's in Arkansas. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning, Maggie. Good morning, Andrew and crew. So for me, I'm not trying to tug too many heartstrings. I'm a veteran. I retired 7 years ago. I'm not much older than you guys. I'm 47. But, I think about September 11th. I remember where I was on that day. And every year, and it's easy for me to say this in Arkansas because there's a large veteran population. There's a VA. Across every job, it really, really, as a teacher, I go to schools and I teach, and, it's just a remarkable thing. Truck drivers, everywhere. It's just, the people come together. And the sports, it's not limited to one sport. I mean, there's football, there's baseball celebrating. It's really trying to unite the country.
Yeah.
Like, your senses are just exploding because of the music you hear, like classic Toby Keith, or just like the food you eat and the sounds and the jets flying overhead. And just, it's a remarkable feeling for me as a man who deployed 5 times in 20 years, who's seen some pretty crazy, you know what I'm just saying. So it's just, like, it's a really, really, really special time for a lot of people, myself included.
Jeremy,
I remember who've had friends die. I mean, it's just, I'm just saying, like, I love just the unity that comes together that day, and the sports that happen to really try and make you happy.
Yeah.
And so it's just great. So I just wanted to bring that one up.
You know, Jeremy, a couple of things there. First and foremost, thank you for your service. Really. Thank you truly. And to the other veterans out there every single day. And this is a good time of the year to, you know, where we're giving thanks and we're feeling grateful, and not to forget the people who have served this country and also who have made the ultimate sacrifice. The other part is, I think sports, you know, it's always such a heavy day, whether you're in Arkansas, whether you're in New York, anywhere in this country, that's a heavy day. And sports does have a way of uniting us. And the memorials and commemorating 9/11, certainly sports does an amazing job doing.
I love when they do. I've actually been to a couple NFL games when they do the flag that takes over the whole 100-yard field. That is incredibly powerful. Yeah. And it reminds me, too, right after 9/11, when the country was just like, what do we do now? Mm-hmm. I mean, sports, that's probably the biggest sports month ever, because those events were just so elevated. I mean, like, we talk about a big game 7 or not, that nothing compared to 9/11, both the football and the baseball.
Yep.
Sports plays a huge role in that. It's a great call.
Yep. And we're asking today, our great debate is the greatest sports holidays. I mean, obviously no one would ever say 9/11 is a holiday, but that's always just commemorating not just that day. And then for veterans like Jeremy and everything that came after, and that continues to come after. We've got some great ones for you. New Year's Day, Thanksgiving. Bogusch went with the Winter Classic, and Bogusch is back with headlines. What's up?
Good morning again, guys. So the Dodgers won the World Series with a starting rotation decimated by injury. Next season, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Clayton Kershaw, Tony Gonsolin, and others should all be back. And now they'll have Blake Snell as well, the 2-time Cy Young Award winner, joining LA reportedly for $182 million over 5 seasons.
Sheesh.
Must be nice.
That's a lot. Considering
it doesn't feel like that much right now.
Kind of doesn't, actually.
Well, but for Snell, last year could not find a job. I mean, he signed with the Giants 2 weeks into spring training, and a year later, we're 5 years, 185. That's a pretty big change.
Yeah. But still, when you're talking about $700 million for Juan Soto, 182 feels like middle infielder money.
I mean, the guy's, 32, Blake Snell?
But I also think last year might have been the problem, not this year. Somebody should have signed him before they did, and he shouldn't have settled for became a 1-year deal with the Giants.
Yeah.
The market was weird last winter, for sure.
I think also, not that this would matter for someone of his caliber, but the qualifying offer attached to draft pick, and this year he could not have the qualifying offer put on him because you can't have that happen twice. Not to get into the weeds too much.
No change atop the CFP rankings for the 3rd week in a row. The top 25 again begins with Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State. Miami and Boise State again join the Ducks and Longhorns with first-round byes as conference leaders. As for those who have to play in week 1, it's Ohio State, Arizona State, Notre Dame, SMU, Georgia, Tennessee, and Penn State, Indiana. One of the NBA's greatest dynasties ended last night. The Lakers were 9-0 in the NBA Cup, winning last year's event and the first 2 games of this year's version. But then came a 127-100 thumping from the Suns in Phoenix. LeBron, though, knows a repeat is still possible.
We are a process-oriented team, and we understand it's not going to happen overnight. So, you stay even killed. Get too high and never get too low.
Baby steps until Cup number 2. His Lakers have lost 3 in a row overall. Victor Wembanyama had 34 points in the Spurs' 128-115 win in Utah. And Damian Lillard had 37 as the Bucks won in Miami, 106-103. Top-ranked Kansas down number 11 Duke, 75-72 in Vegas after Hunter Dickinson got ejected for a flagrant 2 midway through the second half. Dickinson kicked at a Duke player after they went to the floor fighting for a rebound. Chargers running back J.K. Dobbins reportedly out multiple weeks with the left knee injury picked up in Monday night's loss to the Ravens. The traffic citations that Tyreek Hill received for the incident with police outside the Dolphins Stadium in early September, they've been dropped because the officer involved did not appear at a court date on Monday. An internal investigation of Danny Torres' handling of Hill that day continues, or it is complete, and the findings have not been released to the public yet. And finally, we go back to college football. Whooping Alabama can make a man hungry. Oklahoma coach Brent Venables got extra attention after the win for revealing his family spent $94 at Taco Bell for a post-game meal. The full explanation came yesterday.
By the time I'm done with the radio show on a night game and with the media and with the recruits and with the players and the staff and, get in the car and get home, I'm ready to, chew an arm off of somebody. So girls say go to Taco Bell. Man, let's go. And it's a long line, but man, it was worth the wait. It was so long, I had to go inside and go to a bathroom break while we waited for the food. We had to pull over. We ordered so much food they couldn't get it all ready. We ordered everything, and whatever they had put inside of a tortilla, the crunchy stuff. Man, it's really. I have no idea what it was, and but we smashed that and had some fun.
At times, it's almost sexual, that deep
By the
voice.
way, no one knows what's in a Taco Bell taco.
You're not supposed to know.
Obviously, you don't want to know. Nobody wants to know. We just like eating them.
But deeper, $94 at Taco Bell. You need like 84 people to get there. That's one of the sales of Taco Bell. Is it's not that expensive. That's a huge order.
I was trying to look at the menu. This is the one in New York. New York, the prices are off. It's $5 for a taco at Taco Bell. It's so silly. But I think is it still 89 cents? I think the last time I had Taco Bell, it was 89 cents for a soft taco.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, depending on what you're getting, you can get a lot for $1.
$100 at Taco Bell. And how many people? 4 people, presumably, or?
Yeah, I know. He said the girls, and maybe he's got
like
8 daughters. I don't know.
Marcus Freeman style. Doesn't Marcus Freeman have like 7 kids? I don't think it was something like that. $100 is that's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. This seems weird.
Man, you believe nothing.
You don't think this story's real? He's got all the details in it?
I don't believe it. I just think there's no way they ate all that. He probably had leftover for days.
Okay, that's fine.
Leftover Taco Bell.
I don't know. You can down a lot of Taco Bell.
I agree.
They're kind of small.
4 kids and then himself. I don't know if both boys are still.
But think about what he said. He's coaching a whole football game, then radio show, recruits, the whole deal. It's a night game. They're eating at 2 a.m. You couldn't put down, I don't know, 6 or 7 tacos. By that time, you're starving.
I know, but $94? That's what I'm saying. It's the money. And this is Oklahoma Taco Bell. I know that's going to be like, you're getting the best deal at a Norman, Oklahoma Taco Bell.
You said how much for a soft taco?
I thought it was 89 cents. Am I wrong?
Well, you could get a soft taco at the Taco Bell about half a block away from here for $3.09.
Yeah, but New York is stupid.
Cents. I was like, I don't know where Maggie's going to Taco Bell.
Well, I'm talking about when I was growing up in upstate New York.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's getting those prices.
When was that, 2001?
I think that was meant as a diss, but you're actually right. I was technically in college in 2001.
Any Del Taco fans in the house? You guys know Del Taco out in California? Oh,
no.
That is cheap Mexican food.
I've heard about it, never had it.
I've never had it either.
It means of the taco, I think.
Thank you. I've passed by many in a rental car in L.A.
Yeah.
Is this a good neighborhood?
We're actually a Chipotle family, and that can get a little pricey. If you went to town at Chipotle and you wanted to add guac.
What about Baja Fresh?
I don't know that one.
That's a good one, too.
So know what I ended up with, though? I couldn't find anything, and I went to Chipotle. And I'm going to do it again today.
Wait, say that word one more time.
Chipotle?
This is a sore spot for Perloff.
Oh, Chipotle?
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, Manny, help me out here.
I can't, man. Chipotle is bad.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's also fast food, so it's not going to be the best. Although Taco Bell's pretty tasty, but it's not going to be the best of the best. It's not high cuisine. It's like in a rush.
Yeah, I mean, I love Taco Bell. I have no beef with Taco Bell, no pun intended. I just feel like, man, I just feel like he had a lot of Taco Bell the next day and maybe the next day. I just don't know if this was all in one sitting. Especially at 2 a.m., his bathroom must smell crazy.
Oh, God. EJ.
Taco Bell.
Say what we're all thinking. How dare you?
Really spelled it out there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Somebody
ruined the Schefter story, and now ruining the Taco Bell story.
Yeah.
Come on. Nobody was thinking $94 a Taco Bell, what that means, what that does to the body.
I'm assuming he's got multiple bathrooms in his house. Remember the house that Lincoln Riley lived in Oklahoma? I think he had 2 houses. Remember that?
Yeah, you could order as much Taco Bell as you
I'm gonna
wanted.
go to the other house.
I'm going to the poop house.
Why do you?
So Darren Rizzi doesn't get into the Taco Bell.
He needs 2 houses. The new coach of the Saints keeps clogging the toilets.
He should have a Devontae Adams situation. He should have a Taco Bell just in his house.
In his home.
In his castle.
Speaking of Devontae Adams, his name came up yesterday. We'll talk about that. Bogusch, thank you so much. We have so many things to get to, including what's the greatest sports holiday, which is our great debate today. Thanksgiving, NBA on Christmas, New Year's Day bowls, Winter Classic on New Year's Day. Keep them coming. We also have a question out there. Do you like going to dinner with your boss? Some early on in the show. Does that make you excited, or is that a little nerve-wracking? And then we've got a whole bunch of Cowboys, Jerry Jones talking crazy. And Devontae Adams came up yesterday. We'll tell you why. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
In the Gotham streets, the night is still, but Batman's got a new type of thrill. He's hosting sports talk on the radio waves, breaking down the game, making bold hot takes. But where's my photo? The signal's a flop. Peter Bellani didn't show up on the clock. Oh, Peter, where are you? The bat signal's on. I'm trying to break down LeBron and Zion. The Dark Knight's ready, but the show's a fight. Without Bellani, I can't win the night. There's a thief on the block, it's no damn surprise. Caught on camera with those sneaky ass eyes. Rasheed Rice's mom, yeah, she made the news. Snatching up bunches like she paid her fucking dues. Is it Peter Bellani taking the fucking backs? He's never at work, could be leaving tracks. Perloff's out here blaming the folks, but it's Bellani who's a sneaky ass bloke. Bloke! Amazon packages just
I gotta wait. I know that.
Is this the first time you've ever sung?
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
We need to help him out
Time never seemed so good.
So good, so good, so good.
I've been inclined bum, 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 to believe
Now you failed it.
they never would. Good times never seem so good. So good, so good, so good. I've been inclined.
Now you failed it. Let's go.
To believe they never would.
All right. Wow.
Is this now? Bill, make me want to shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Come on now. Come on now. The Bills are making it happen now. Stand up and come on and shout. Yeah. Yeah. Come on and shout. Kick it up now. Shout, 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 shout. Bills are making it happen now. Go Josh Allen. Freddie Jackson, Eric Moulds, makes me want to shout, 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 shout. I can't follow all the lyrics here. Bills, Bills, Bills. Hey,
Peerless Price.
Hey.
Eagles fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I gotta wait. I know that.
45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Daily.
Do you believe that?
Deion.
You believe that?
All right, this portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. There is a scenario, by the way, for Deion Sanders, right? Like, Colorado's not out, right? There's some scenario where they get to the Big 12 title game. I didn't follow it that much last night.
Well, you basically need to be Einstein to figure out the Big 10.
Big 12, yep.
Excuse me, the Big 12 like scenarios with the tiebreakers. That's what I'm looking for. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
It was like 4 pages of possible scenarios. So yes, I think one of them has somehow Colorado getting into the Big 12 title game, but a million other things have to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. It's a shame. So Deion has moved on to other topics besides competing in the playoff.
Yeah, we got a lot of things here. So Deion Sanders yesterday. First, Manny, can we play the clip of Deion upset that Travis Hunter is now being snubbed for one postseason award? That's the Jim Thorpe Award.
How? How is Travis Hunter snubbed by the Jim Thorpe Award? You can have my award, you can have it back. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give him mine. I ain't using it, just sit up there collecting dust. So Travis could have my Thorpe Award, because if this ain't the most idiotic thing in college football that he's not a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award.
I mean, it does seem a little silly. The Jim Thorpe Award is the best defensive back in college. Obviously, Deion won it, and it's Jahdae Barron, Caleb Downs, and Malachi Starks are the 3 finalists, but Travis Hunter not on that list.
Is it just simply a matter of like, wow, that guy's awesome on offense. We see him running into the end zone as a receiver. Did the receiver thing cloud people's opinions on this?
I don't know how it would. He is one of the best in college. All right, more from Deion, though. He says that Shedeur and Travis will play in a bowl game because obviously getting the college football playoff is not going to happen. So here's his thoughts about his 2 stars playing in a bowl game.
No, we got a bowl game. I'm pretty sure we secured that weeks ago for Peggy. So, no, it's not the last time you're going to see them in a buff uniform. These 2 and all the rest of the seniors have done a wonderful job of getting us to where we are, instilling so much expectation in our fan base and expectation in ourselves. So we're going to fight and try to go out there and kick some butt and end this thing on the right note.
Man, Deion is old school because that's an old school way to think about a bowl game that's not part of the college football playoff, especially with Shedeur and Travis Hunter having so much still to come in their careers to risk getting hurt in a now quote unquote meaningless bowl.
Yeah, I just wonder, is
silly.
that a final decision? Like, I don't know. When it comes down to the moment, I'm not sure I buy it. Like, it'd be kind of against the grain to put them out there.
Totally. I mean, Shedeur could be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah,
Travis could be top 5, top 3.
That hit that Shedeur took on his knees last week. Do you really want to expose him to that? I mean, I get it, he's talking big now. I can't believe that's really going to happen because I would advise Deion not to let either play.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. I just think for guys who are at the very top of the draft, I understand it. I do. So, yeah, maybe when push comes to shove, they won't play. Also, Deion has always been a guy, I'm not saying he wasn't about team, but is that the first thing you think of with Deion Sanders?
Yeah, but it's his kid.
I know. That's what I'm so shocked about this. I feel like Deion's kind of like, get yours, you know?
But maybe get yours is my team winning the bowl game. Maybe he wants to round this out with a really gaudy record of Colorado, which has a lot of benefits. Or maybe it's just old school. That's possible. Deion is pretty old school.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so we've got an update now to the Daily Deion because Perloff, something has happened this morning.
Yeah, so I saw this video going around on social media of the Giants staff at a Colorado practice, and it's basically Joe Shane and Jesse Armstead hugging it out with Deion, watching. I assume they're watching Shedeur more than Travis Hunter, but they all seem pretty friendly, which means two things. One, the Giants want Shedeur Sanders. Two, Joe Shane, for now, the GM of the Giants, thinks that he's picking the next quarterback. So that's interesting. And I don't know why, based on body language, Deion has said he might steer Shedeur to a certain team. It seemed like he got along with the Giants guys, and maybe he'll accept the Giants as an option. The Giants have a really good angle to get the number 1 overall pick. Is this as obvious as Shedeur Sanders is going to be a Giant?
I do not think it's that obvious. I don't know if Deion would, if the Giants are interested and if it looks like a match, if Deion would get in the way of going to New York City. I don't think he would do that just because the opportunities there are so big. And again, Deion, a little bit old school, maybe respects the Giants. I don't know.
Yeah,
the Giants have not been a respectable record.
But when Deion was in his NFL prime, they were still an esteemed franchise.
No doubt. I mean, and I think there's definitely something about being a Giant, I guess. I don't know if that's fading away. But the other part of this is, of course, the GM of the Giants has to go around acting as if he still has the job.
That's true.
And maybe there's another sinister angle, but I don't think this is true, that Deion would be buddy-buddy with Joe Shane knowing, hey, you're not going to be here. Like anything I say or talk to you about, you're not going to be the guy. Because it's looking, you know what? I'm not even going to call it right now. I have no idea if the Giants are going to move on from these two guys. I would be not surprised because I've seen how they've operated over the last few years where they have just pulled the ripcord on these coaches so quickly, Pearl. But I could also see them being, saying, we're going to try to keep this thing, steady the ship and stay with them. I have no idea. I know what I should do. What they should do is they should actually keep them both.
Wait, no, I disagree with that. What they will do, they've already said we're keeping them both. I mean, it might have been a false vote of confidence, but a pretty strong vote of confidence. Why would you keep them both?
You absolutely should. First of all, Joe Shane is not a bad drafter, number one. And number two, Brian Daboll, you brought him there because you were trying to save Daniel Jones. Well, that didn't work, but Daniel Jones may not have been savable. You give Brian Daboll another shot with a young quarterback. Absolutely. He's got experience on the pro and the college level. Like I would not jump ship here for what? For Belichick? Maybe. I guess Belichick because I respect the rings. But I'm not doing it for Ben Johnson or someone like that. You've already got Daboll.
Oh my God. I would fire Amara to get Ben Johnson in New York because that's not, he's not going there. I think you're totally wrong. I think they need, what's the identity? I'm borrowing from our friend Mike Lombardi. What is the identity of the Giants with Brian Daboll and Joe Shane? What is it that makes them special or decisive or feel like they're building anything? Nothing. They're just haphazardly signing and picking players left to right. Yeah, Brian Burns is a good player, but if you put him into this scheme that has no identity or no plan, then what's the point? Joe Shane could pick some good players, but none of them seem to work together. And eventually there'll be good players on another team.
I think this is all about the quarterback. if they just had a quarterback, I think it would all fall into place. They've put investment. Now I feel like a Giant defender. They've put investments into the offensive line. They've put investments into the defense. They've put investment into wide receiver. You just do not have the most important piece of this whole thing.
That offensive line is a disaster.
They've been a little bit hurt, but they have put resources into the offensive line. Andrew Thomas is actually grades out as one of the good left tackles, not the best left tackles. He's not the best left tackle. He's the top echelon of left tackles.
But, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm sure they're in the bottom 5 for PFF's offensive line rankings. Wait, did Shane pick Evan Neal? I can't remember.
He did.
He did.
Well,
okay.
So that was a bomb.
That's a bomb, but you're going to have some bombs. It's still the draft.
It's not that. It's just the overall direction of the team is broken. I mean, that's based on results. So they got to...
The biggest thing that you knocked Joe Shane for in the Giants brass is that they gave that contract to Daniel Jones.
No.
Not even that they didn't pay Barkley. They gave that contract to Daniel Jones, and I'm not convinced that the owner didn't have something to do with that.
That contract was great. It was 2 years. They got rid of him. They're not. Dak Prescott's stuck in Dallas for 4 years. Tua's in Miami for 5 years. That's a bad contract. Not Daniel Jones for 2 years. They basically franchise tagged him.
Those guys, Dak Prescott and Tua, actually have won some games.
Right, but
Daniel Jones has never won games.
Right, but he's gone. That was easy.
And now they're looking at the number 1 overall pick, maybe. And maybe it's Shedeur. 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Oh, man, this Thanksgiving is going to be so awesome. Even Aaron Rodgers can't ruin it. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But Rodgers is back. Jets are off their bye week. And
I hope Aaron is not listening to that because I will not stand by.
Oh, listen, I appreciate Rodgers. We created a whole segment asking what the bleep is he up to today. I mean, he's been awesome in some ways, but he's kind of been insufferable in others. And I think if he was being honest with himself, even he might be able to admit that. And the reason why is not because he's had the audacity to have a bad year. Like, that's not, that happens sometimes in professional sports. The guy's coming off an Achilles tear. He's 40 years old. He's trying to keep the dream alive. I don't think any of us are slighting him because of that. It's not about that. It's just about everything that had to be perfect and felt like Rodgers was curating everything to his liking and how it's so spectacularly blown up in his face. And again, that's not his fault. It just showed a certain amount of ego and hubris. I know more than you. And listen, it's the Jets, so he definitely does know more than them. But I know more than you. Everyone follow me. I'm going to be the big leader here, and I'm going to be the one who's going to bring us to the back to glory here. You New York Jets, you sorry organization, you don't know anything. I'm the one who's going to show you the way it goes, and I'm going to show you the light. And meanwhile, none of that has come true. The coach is gone. The GM is gone. They traded for his best friend in Devontae Adams. That has not worked out. Like, none of this is working. There was a proof of concept when Rodgers was in Green Bay, but that has not come to life here in New York.
I don't know. I keep hearing, so many times, because the Jets signed Randall Cobb and MVS, that Aaron Rodgers is the shadow GM. Is it really that big a deal? I mean, MVS signs a new team every year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you're killing Rodgers. Like, it makes sense. A veteran quarterback comes in, bring him some receivers he's played for. This is not like a radical, like Aaron Rodgers, I'm running the show. And when did he ever say, stupid Jets, I'm going to show them how to? He never actually came out and said that.
Well, of course he didn't say stupid Jets. I'm paraphrasing because he
I don't think he had Salah fired. I don't think he picked Ulbrich. I don't think he's had any hand in any of this. What's going on right now? He seems to be super tight with Salah.
I think he's tighter with ownership.
I don't know.
Maybe not Woody Johnson, but Christopher Johnson, his brother, I think they are very tight.
I don't think I'm getting the sense that he was not consulted on that, Robert. I'm starting to believe that.
I don't, because he said that he talked to the owner the night before. So I think he definitely got the heads up on it. Listen, maybe
but it wasn't his call.
Maybe it wasn't his call.
The same owner who wanted to bench him?
Well, we're not sure about that report, right? There's so many conflicting reports. Was that said in jest?
No,
or
he
was
did not.
It said?
He did not deny that report. He was asked. I watched the McAfee interview. He was directly asked about that. He avoided it.
Yeah, no, he's avoided a few things. I'm not killing Aaron Rodgers, but Perloff, he definitely was selling himself as I'm the savior of this team.
Of course.
Right.
Why would he be? I mean, do you think Tom Brady didn't sell himself as the savior of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who hadn't made the playoffs in a decade, and he came in and won a Super Bowl? Of course. So why would he not view himself that way?
Okay, well, because you wrote a check that your play couldn't cash.
Tore his Achilles 4 plays into his first game.
And then couldn't stop telling us about how he was going to heal faster than anybody ever and was holding Jets fans' hopes out for that when there was no shot he was going to be able to do it. And then was talking big about, you don't think he wanted Davante Adams to come here?
Yes, and you know who else liked that move? Everybody on planet Earth thought that was a good idea.
Okay.
And if you didn't, you're crazy. Why would you have not wanted to bring Davante Adams for nothing to New York?
So why does it look like they've never met before?
Because the offense is broken, and I don't think Rodgers can't move 3 feet in the pocket without having to limp to the sideline.
Why is Nathaniel Hackett here? Why has everyone made an accommodation about Rodgers? And I'm just saying that he has written a check that he can't cash now. And so it's funny to me to see him yesterday, a couple things. So he's back on McAfee's show. So it's not surprising for me to hear him say that he has not made up his mind yet on what he wants to do next year. So let's hear a little bit about Rodgers. Can I hear cut 4, please, Manny, about his future and how open-ended everything is?
If I can stay healthy the rest of the year and play the way I want to play, and everybody, feels good about bringing me back, then then there's a decision there. And if not, then there's all the other all the other options. I think at this point I'm open to everything and attached to nothing. So it's a good place to be.
Okay, he said though if he could have it his way, I'll hear cut 3. His first option would be to play for the Jets.
I've really enjoyed my time in New York. I mean, obviously we haven't had success that we've all wanted to have, but I've made some great friendships on the team. I've enjoyed living in Jersey. I've enjoyed time in the city. I've enjoyed getting to know the fans. And I came here to win here. So I'm not jumping off ship, like, oh, I definitely want to play and not in New York. I don't even know if I want to play yet, but New York would be my first option.
Okay, so there's so much there. First of all, let's take this one first. He's enjoyed his time in New York. I'm glad he has because no one else has enjoyed this.
Well, that sounded like a lie, though, because he said he enjoyed his time in Jersey. I mean, come on.
Where he's living, very, very nice and fancy. This is not Newark Airport that he's sitting in long-term parking. He's living in a very fancy part of New Jersey.
Go to lunch at Satriel's or whatever.
Yeah, right. He's not an extra on The Sopranos. But here, when he says he's enjoyed his time, he's the only one. Because everyone else seems pretty miserable. Not just the Jets fans in our life. You guys are miserable all the time. The head coach has been fired. The general manager has been fired. Does Davante Adams seem happy? Does Garrett Wilson seem happy? Does anyone seem happy here? And Rodgers doing this like, wow, we're just, every day is a gift. Well, yeah, every day is a gift, but you're also trying to win football games. He said it there. I was brought here to win football games. And you failed miserably at this for injury and for every other reason. So to say that you've really enjoyed this time, I think is a fine thing to say if you're on an ayahuasca trip. But if you're trying to be a football fan or run a football organization, that is so tone deaf to say. You've enjoyed this misery? This is misery to everyone else.
I mean, what were the Jets before Aaron Rodgers? Was it like he took over the Chiefs and all of a sudden they were losing before him? Yeah. Guy hurt his Achilles. He's been limping around all season, and they lost a bunch of games partly because their kicker was terrible. This is not on him.
Okay.
It's on the Jets organization because they're going to have a new quarterback, and same problems are going to pop up.
Okay. Why this is worse is because when the Jets are bad and Zach Wilson is back there, you have no expectation, right?
Come
you have
on.
very little expectation.
Are you saying people weren't ripping the Jets when Zach Wilson was a quarterback? It was a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week rip fest in this town.
No, but I'm just saying no one thought they were going to the Super Bowl. Rodgers came in, said the Lombardi Trophy looks lonely, and basically said, like, I'm here, guys. I'm here. I'm the second coming of Joe Namath, and I'm here to resurrect the franchise. And he gave people hope, and that's why it feels worse, because the expectations on the season were much higher than any Jets season, and we have to go back at least 13 years to find one where they're higher. So I think that's where people are not loving that part of this from Rodgers. As far as his future, is this still a match? I don't know if the Jets and Rodgers are a match anymore.
Well, I think for Rodgers, it's definitely a match because he's got this big contract. Like, I don't think there's a ton of other options for him. So it's definitely a match from his end. And they don't have what are they going to do? What's their option? I don't think that they're going to be in the top 4 in the draft. I don't think there's going to be a quarterback for them, so I don't think there's a first-round draft option. I don't want to sell all my draft picks to move up. I don't even think you're going to be able to. So who's your quarterback next year?
Well, that's a great question. Now you're going to have a whole new GM and a whole new regime. So a new GM, a new coach. Does a new GM want to come in and have 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers? Now, you might not think that he's the shadow GM, but he still has a direct line to the owner. And it's whether it's Woody Johnson, it's Christopher Johnson.
But he was very, very non-committal on his relationship with Woody in this interview.
Okay, so that also plays into it because this is a unique situation where the owner of the team might be a member of the cabinet. Like, this is not a normal thing. Woody Johnson was an ambassador last time during this administration. He could have it again, and Christopher Johnson was left in charge. So if Woody is off to the UK again to hold that position, then Christopher Johnson is the top guy, and that does matter.
Well, that's true. But here's the bottom line. Aaron is going to want the Jets back. Will Jets want it? I mean, that's the discussion now. And you bring up a great point. You're going to have a new coach and a new GM. Name a better fit. What are we looking at? We're looking at We're looking at Derek Carr. They're not going to do Sam Darnold again. We're talking about a retread, mid-level free agent, maybe like not Baker Mayfield because he's signed, but a Baker Mayfield type. Is that going to get you excited if you're a Jets fan?
I just think that even if they're picking in the top 10, that's definitely legit. If they're picking in the top 10, maybe you are trying to get a Cam Ward. Maybe you are trying to get
Cam Ward's going 2.
Well, I don't know, but maybe other guys get pushed up in this draft. And I ask you then, let's just say it's Cam Ward, just for argument's sake. Are you running the same offense for Cam Ward that you are Aaron Rodgers? Like, that's the whole thing about keeping him around. He would presumably be the starter, right? The bridge quarterback to a young guy. But you're not going to be running nearly the same offense for Rodgers as a young guy because Rodgers is the offense. He's the one who's making those hand signals at the line of scrimmage. He's the one who doesn't want tons of pre-snap motion and all of that because it's a timing. All that stuff that we know about Rodgers, watching it for all these years. That's not going to be what you do for Cam Ward.
Why would Cam Ward? It's got a lot of Rodgers. Like, why would that be a different? They definitely would run the same offense. Like Cam Ward, kind of similar, like weird arm angles, throws on the run, like a young Rodgers. Actually, Cam Ward, if I was going to do a player comp, that would not be terrible. Because,
we're talking about Rodgers now.
Yeah, I know. But then again, Rodgers will be different next year. He'll be at least like now he's 0% mobile. I think he'd be a little better next year. I think he would probably run very similar offenses for the two players. Shedeur, definitely.
Yeah, but I don't think they're
getting Cam Ward either. Oh. I think that they're going to miss the quarterback. They're not taking Jalen Milroe. They're not taking Carson Beck that
Although
high.
Right now, Pro Football Focus does have Jalen Milroe mocked to the Jets at 7 overall.
Yeah, I find that really hard to believe.
I think Jalen Milroe should go back to college. But if you're going to be a top 10 pick, then you got to go for the money, I guess.
I just think that Rodgers has become a lightning rod, and he's taking all the blame for the organization because he's so high profile. And the reality is, like, there's much bigger problems than Aaron Rodgers.
That's true, but it's not like the organization is saying, hey, Aaron, can you get out there on Tuesdays to answer all these questions from an ESPN show? Like, he also courts it. And the other just funny part about Rodgers, and this is not a political statement at all, it's just noticeable how quickly he can move back and forth between the vaccine stuff and praising the Johnsons. Like, that is one sentence, I was right about everything. The next, I love the Johnson family. It is whiplash.
But anyway, that being said, Rodgers would say you're getting away from football and you're talking about other things.
We just talked about football for 12 minutes, and I said that for 30 seconds. And he's the one.
He would jump all over that statement and be like, look, you're judging me on non-football things.
I'm just noticing it. I'm noticing it because he keeps putting it out there week after week. I'm allowed to notice it when he keeps saying it.
I notice the football every week, and he sucks.
And we talk football about it.
He's got one leg, EJ. What do you expect?
Oh, that's the other part. There was a report from Ian Rappaport that said Rodgers refused to get any kind of scans on his hamstring or knee. I thought it was ankle.
I think
hamstring for sure.
Yeah, definitely hamstring. It might have been ankle as well.
Yeah.
And why does the defense stink now? And because they fired Saleh like idiots. They'd probably be 500 if they didn't fire Saleh. I'm being serious. Like, this is a front office problem too.
No doubt. Sorry, let me finish the idea about the scans.
Oh, sorry.
So he said he was asked about, are you not getting the scans? Skirted that question. Said he has a great relationship with the doctors and the medical staff at the Jets, and he knows his body better than anybody. So take that. Big Dave is our pal in Kentucky. Hey, Dave.
Hey, good morning, guys. Listen, I want to call in and wish you guys all a happy Thanksgiving. Y'all are just my favorite sports media folks of all time, and I always enjoy our interactions.
Thanks, buddy.
Dave, you're our favorite warden.
You're our favorite Bengals former Cowboys fan out there.
I get that a lot. Hey, couple of things on the favorite sports holiday. I would go football on Thanksgiving, but I'll tell you, dark horse kind of go against the grain here is Father's Day U.S. Opens, and I harken back to 1999 and the Payne Stewart Phil Mickelson showdown and all that. So
that's a great one.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, something I think that's getting glossed over. Everybody kind of writes last year off because he didn't play. But you know what? Father Time doesn't take a year off. And I think this all goes back to the fact that Rodgers just physically cannot do what he once did. It's not even close. He has no mobility. McLovin, you just said you thought next year would be better. I don't know how. He'll be 41 as opposed to 40. I think that's just the big part of it. He's just – because if you look, his best years, he was very mobile, inside the pocket. I mean, he could really, he created a lot of plays. He just can't do it anymore. And I've talked about that with Dak. I think that's part of Dak's problem after he had the injury. And lastly, on McCarthy and the Cowboys, now I'm firmly, even though I would have bet anything that he's gone, now, because some folks are kind of starting to take McCarthy's side a little bit, that he really didn't have a fair shake this year, I'm thoroughly convinced that Jerry Jones will bring him back again.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, really am. I really am.
Dave,
and I think,
yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I think you're right. I wonder it's because I don't think he wants to give the keys to the kingdom to Belichick. I don't think he wants to, quote unquote, overpay for Vrabel. I think Jerry might. I'm not saying he's cheap. It's not cheap to pay your coach $8 million or whatever, but I don't think he wants to give out a big deal.
I'm gonna tell you, I want to renege on a previous opinion of mine. This is kind of, I guess I need to say you were right, Mags. On primetime, I think Prime would be the perfect fit for the Cowboys, and I'll tell you why. I think he's probably the one guy on the earth that could push back to Jerry. Jerry would probably go along with whatever Prime said and then took credit for it. But it probably won't happen. I'm now convinced. I'm now convinced that he's going to run Mike McCarthy back. Listen, guys, have a safe and wonderful Thanksgiving. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dave. Same to you and to yours. And we appreciate that. I think that the Deion and the Shedeur thing, which is where I really thought Dave was going to completely end our friendship. And I know that Dak's got this huge contract, but I don't know. Something about that, the pull, the fact that Deion said he wants to put Shedeur in a certain particular place just makes me think there's a little hope there.
Yeah, but then Cooper Rush had to go back to being Cooper Rush and tear up those Commanders. Cooper Rush is going to win you some games, Maggie. I told you before. They're not even going to be close to getting Shedeur. They'll probably pick like 11th or 12th.
I know, but if Deion's skirting it and he's
moving it. It's a long way to skirt. I mean, Kobe Bryant managed to get himself down to 13 or something. That is way too far. It's going to be all right. Shedeur's going. Also, I do think at the end of the day, Shedeur wants to be number one. There's a lot of honor in that.
Sure, and money, 855-212-4227. Although Shedeur's not really hurting for money, we don't think. Okay, lots there. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, another year in a Jets uniform. Are we all going to survive that?
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
It's a 2-year recovery from Achilles. The worst fear would is he goes somewhere else and just tears it up, Brett Favre style. But you guys don't seem to care about that.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out where the fit is at another team where he's going to have the opportunity to tear it up. It was hard for Tom Brady, to find a landing spot. People said straight up no, thank you to Tom.
Yeah, but it's not like you're not talking about Derek Carr. He's Aaron Rodgers.
I know, but
he's like right behind Tom Brady.
I know, but
it's like 6 all time on the quarterback list.
But Tom didn't have an Achilles, and he was having trouble finding a landing spot. Like, are there going to be all these open doors? Who was actually bidding against the Jets last time around for Rodgers?
The darkness retreat. Was
Yeah, again, and we're going to get the will he, won't he retire all off season.
I'd take Rodgers next year. I think somebody should take a risk because he's not going to cost you anything. You can get rid of him in a year.
855-212-4227. All right, there you go. Lots more to do today, including your thoughts on the greatest sports holiday. That's our great debate for today. You can also weigh in our poll question. Do you like going to dinner with your boss?
I don't think so.
855-212-4227. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. So it's an interesting slate for Thanksgiving Day. Obviously, the Lions are the team to watch. Play the Bears, divisional game, who knows? Giants, Cowboys, I've been ripping that game all week, deserves to be. Dolphins, Green Bay is a huge game. I have a feeling, tell me if you read this game the same way. If this was on a neutral field, the way these two teams are playing right now, Miami would win and win decisively. On a neutral field. Like Miami's trending up, obviously, and Green Bay feels wobbly. Like Jordan Love's throwing a lot of near interceptions. The defense is hot and cold. Feels like they've been in a lot of close games. It feels like all the momentum's with Miami. But the factor of the weather is like, if you wanted to pick Miami, you still in the back of your mind have to be nervous about A, it's cold, B, the chance of precipitation. Still, it's a pretty close spread. I feel like the desperation factor makes Miami a real factor in this game.
Yeah, I just don't know if Miami's going to be able to overcome this weather thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Tua's 0-7 in games that are under 40 degrees.
Yes.
This game's going to be like 20 degrees.
Do you not agree with that neutral field take, though? Because I feel like the temperature of NFL Nation right now is the Dolphins are surging and the Packers are playing mediocre.
I don't actually agree with that, and here's why. I think that you got to look a little closer at the opponent. Now, I know Miami went to the Rams, and they beat the Rams. I still don't know how Vegas knew that was going to happen and actually how that did happen, because I thought the Rams are not a bad team. But then they beat the Raiders at home, and they beat the Patriots at home. And to me, that's not that impressive.
Yeah, but they played really well in Buffalo.
Yeah, okay, but that's also a division opponent that they generally play well, and that's where, well, Buffalo generally wins, but and then I'm looking at Green Bay. Okay, you lost by 10 points to Detroit. Detroit's been destroying people, and that was at home, okay. But then you had to play the Bears, and you beat them on the block field goal. But
you should have lost that game to a mediocre or bad Bears team.
Okay, but it's a
way
Bears
worse
team,
than Miami.
It's a Bears team that was coming off not the new head coach bump, but the new offensive coordinator bump that they had fired their guy, Shane Waldron, the week before. New offensive coordinator, sort of renewed kind of Caleb Williams. And then San Francisco, they were missing guys, and they beat them easily, 38-10.
That was not a real team.
But I'm just saying, it's not like that was close.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bears game was an alarming game for them. You know, this is a Packers team.
Bears at Soldier Field.
I mean, you look at their other wins. They played Jacksonville down to the wire. They played the Texans down to the wire. They just generally, I think it's partly because Jordan Love's health is not perfect. They're not peaking like we necessarily expected. I don't know. I think, again, if it was a warm weather game, I would definitely give the edge because the Dolphins have all of a sudden found these new weapons. Like they're all about Jonnu Smith and Achane, and they don't even really use Waddle and Hill that much. I know Waddle had a big week last week. It's just an interesting team. When Tua is healthy, I think they're right now playing better and also desperation. You know, they need this one. Green Bay can easily drop a game.
Yeah, I get it. I just don't know how good Miami is actually playing because of the opponent.
Yeah,
I can't tell if they're just looking better because their opponents, like, again, you should be beating the Raiders by a lot at home. You should be beating, San Francisco, you should be beating the Patriots, playing a rookie quarterback on the road. Tom Brady used to go to Miami this late in the season and lose, let alone Drake May. So, I don't know.
I mean, they definitely kicked the Rams' butt in L.A.
They did. That was amazing.
Was that Tua's first game back at Buffalo? Or was that his second game back?
I believe it was his first game back. And listen, it took Buffalo nailing a 61-yarder to beat them. I get it.
Yeah, no, this feels like, and I listen to a lot of previews because the Thanksgiving games are getting a lot of attention. And everybody's high on the Dolphins, even with the weather. People think that they're coming. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole because of the weather. If it was in Miami, I would take Miami in a second. No, I'm definitely staying away. Although I do have a prop from this game.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to make our picks today because we want to get all those Thanksgiving games in. Bogusch is here with headlines. What's up?
Guys, we still don't know how the College Football Playoff Selection Committee will actually handle a 2-loss ACC team or a 3-loss SEC team when it's time to make the real bracket. Committee Chair Ward Manuel left them plenty of options on ESPN last night.
Well, I think the appetite is there to rank the teams as we see them, and if a team with one more loss than a team in front of them and we feel like they should be ahead of them, then we've shown that we will do that.
3-loss Alabama is currently the second team out of a new projected bracket. Miami and SMU giving the ACC 2 teams in the field at the moment ahead of a possible meeting in the conference championship game. Those Hurricanes getting a first-round bye for now, while the Mustangs would play at Notre Dame. There'd also be Tennessee, Georgia, Indiana, Penn State, and Ohio State, Arizona State in round 1. The Sun Devils moving up from 16 into the bracket at number 12 as the Big 12 leader. Oregon, Texas, and Boise State would have the first round byes alongside Miami. All of that came out while college basketball was showing off all around the country. Number 6, Houston. Number 9, Alabama in overtime in Vegas.
Sears to Reitzel, long range from the right side, gives to Sears, right wing 3, swish! Mark Sears with a bank first three-pointer. Alabama 81, Houston 78, 1 minute into overtime.
That's from Learfield. Mark Sears scoring 24 in the Tide's 85-80 win. Same event, Rutgers outlasting Notre Dame 85-84 in overtime. Projected lottery pick Dylan Harper, 36 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists for the Scarlet Knights. Elsewhere in Vegas, Kansas big man Hunter Dickinson ejected in the second half for a flagrant 2, but the top-ranked Jayhawks still beat number 11 Duke 75-72. Cooper Flagg 13 points, plus another late, costly turnover in the loss for Duke. And in Maui, 4th-ranked Auburn outscored number 12 North Carolina 85-72 to join Memphis in today's title game. Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal returned from their calf injuries last night. Both scored 23 in the Suns' 127-100 decision over the Lakers. Phoenix now 9-1 this season with KD in the lineup. Let's assume he plays again tonight when the Nets come to town. Durant with some nice words about his former team, which will probably anger some or most Net fans.
I'm excited to see everybody. I miss those guys. I'm a Net for life. I always going to say that. I always feel that. It's going to be in my heart and my blood forever. So it's always good to see family, people that I grinded with.
That's a troll.
We need a Billy Giacalone wellness check ASAP. He's like one of 7 Net fans. I have a reaction to this. This dude saying, I'm a Net for life is something.
That'd be like James Harden being like, yep, I got a Net tattoo right here. Just wanted a permanent ink.
You know, it dawned on me that Kevin Durant's time with the Nets is very similar to Aaron Rodgers' time with the Jets, except he actually played well. But
like the playoffs.
That same misery, though. Like I think Maggie, because I was literally just cutting a clip, you really described the misery very well. Not just for Jet fans, just everybody around the Jets. It feels like that Net situation was just miserable.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. The gaslighting, I'm like, oh, it was great over there. It's like, come on, man. Like, it was not great for anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, and also, you can't go, I'm a Net for life when you wanted to leave. You get to you
asked for a trade twice.
Right. You use that construction when it just ends because of retirement or you guys come to like a mutual agreement. But when you push your way out, you can't go, I'm a Net for life. Because you could have been, but you didn't want to be.
Here's a question. I know that Basketball Hall of Fame is not obviously like baseball where you get like, what hat are you wearing? But who is Durant going to be most known for?
That's a great question.
It's tie, maybe Thunder, Warriors.
I would think 2 titles and MVPs makes him a Warrior.
I think a Warrior. But
See,
that's
I
sad.
think he's Thunder.
It's so funny. My first thought, my instinct was Thunder.
I mean, technically he was a draft pick of the Seattle Supersonics, but obviously, like, he became a star with the Thunder.
Well, same team, right?
Yeah, same franchise.
It just feels like the biggest moments of his career happened with the Warriors, and I'm including him getting hurt, like the Achilles injury also finally.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know he went to the finals with the Thunder, but that seems kind of like, I think we all
put them
forget
on the map, though.
Does Manny know that, by the way? Because that's how long ago that feels.
Yeah.
They don't do like statues
I
or
remember
anything, right? Because they make for Golden State outside the stadium, can they have a statue where he's actually in the back of a bus seat that's farther back from where Steph Curry is in Golden State? Because that would be an apt.
Oh my
like,
goodness.
But you wouldn't know it's Kevin Durant because they'd used the Wade sculptor, so you have no idea. By looking at him.
Who's that
Who is
tall
this?
guy sitting in the back seat of a
Why is
bus?
what's his name in Orlando? Boga Gatadze? Why is he in this
Batadze.
Warriors bus?
Wait, so it'd be Steph Curry is driving the bus in the statue and Durant's sitting behind him?
Steph Curry's driving. Clay's standing next to him.
Draymond somewhere near the front.
Draymond's punching Jordan Poole in the
Yes.
back.
What is this, the Magic School Bus? This is a scene.
Can we just bring Jerome Bettis in there just for the sake of it being a bus?
Just hidden Easter eggs all over the place.
That might be who Durant ends up looking like. Like, why is Jerome Bettis here? Why is he so tall?
Oh, because of the statue
Yes.
makers? Yeah. These guys are that bad. Ooh, yeah.
Other NBA scores last night. Victor Wembanyama 34 points, and the Spurs 128-115 win in Utah, and the Rockets topped the T-Wolves 117-111 in overtime. Alperen Şengün 22 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists for Houston, who clinches a spot in the NBA Cup quarterfinals. And last but certainly not least, the Dodgers are signing Blake Snell, reportedly 5 years and $182 million. The two-time Cy Young gets a $56 million signing bonus, no opt-outs, and some deferrals. And I guess because of those deferrals, the huge signing bonus is an accounting thing. It affects his annual average value and gives him money right away, with other money being pushed deeper into the future.
Yeah, I mean, I take the 50 mil.
It's not bad.
Not a bad little Tuesday. So he gets the 50 million like up front, basically.
Not bad.
I don't know if it's lump sum though, but that's up front-ish. Maybe it comes to you in 2 installments.
You got to manage the taxes here. And
Well,
actually,
and this is in California, right? So you get like $7.
We say that kiddingly, but it's like a massive, like, I'm sure that a lot of these deferments have some sort of trick to them, right?
Well, I mean, wasn't that the assumption too with
Yeah.
Ohtani? Like they weren't going to be paid in California.
Yeah.
People were saying like, well, he worked in California, but there were some like
Yeah,
tax
that was
questions
an
about
issue.
how that was going to work down the road.
I get it.
I feel like when you're talking about taxes with these massive athlete salaries, it's kind of like if you have to ask, you can't afford it. Like they don't have to worry about this kind of thing.
They don't, but it's like actually significant. So that's like a $80 million difference, right? For say Juan Soto does a $700 million
Right,
contract.
then he should sign with the Texas Rangers.
So right, that's if it's 10% in a high tax state, that's a big difference. Like that, I mean, it makes more of a difference to them than like us. Like we're talking like $53 compared to like $75 million. So at least it's something. I get it. I know people don't want to hear that. They hated when Phil Mickelson complained about taxes. But still, if you're a player and you're like, I might as well go to Tennessee.
Well, the other part about Phil Mickelson is like you made a lot of money, yes, taxes, but you also didn't have to blow $500,000 betting UCLA, USC women's soccer. You know,
he definitely
with
did.
Ipe, the Shohei's interpreter.
Phil definitely did have to blow that money, and if
I
you're
don't know if he had to. He definitely did blow that money.
no, that's a whole different thing. Phil complaining about taxes. I mean, that's why Phil books are the best. And that's why our friend Alan Shipnock could just write 4 more books about Phil and be good.
Yeah, they're always funny. Did you guys see this? We didn't get a chance to do this. I was into this story because I like these kind of things. Have you seen about the billionaire who started a treasure hunt?
No.
Okay, so this
Is
guy,
there time to join still?
Yeah, no, seriously. So this guy, John Collins Black, he made his money off of crypto. So everyone, let's collectively roll our eyes. He's a Bitcoin bro. But he decided to do a real world treasure hunt that he believes is the largest in U.S. history. It's a trove worth several $1 million. He's hidden 5 boxes. One has the lion's share of the treasure, 4 smaller boxes, all across the United States. Now he has a book out. It's called The Treasure Inside, or There's Treasure Inside, and it's got the maps and it's got the origins of all these precious things that are in these treasure boxes. So do you want to hear what some of the items are?
Of course.
It's not just money. It's like other things that this guy...
Like a Paul Skeens rookie card?
kind of.
Okay.
This Bitcoin bro is doing this treasure hunt. So here's some of the things. A pair of ruby earrings, a golden chalice, an amethyst necklace,
Jurassic Park?
a gold pendant by Picasso, George Washington's jelly glass, Olympic gold medals, a Michael Jordan rookie basketball card, the autograph of Amelia Earhart, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis's diamond sapphire brooch, and a physical Bitcoin and rare Pokemon cards.
Okay. I don't understand the purpose. Like, what's he getting out of this?
He wants to do this
spring
treasure
cleaning,
hunt
apparently.
thing. Yeah. He wants to create this thing.
His wife hates their garage.
He wants us to be his entertainment. Dance, puppets, dance.
Yeah, kind of.
It's like, but it's not like they get killed if they fail, like Squid Games, is it? Is there any death on the other?
No, but like you could
Sign
slip
me
and
up.
fall.
You just
could-
described Hunger Games, EJ. I don't think I don't totally get what's happening here. Is there a dystopian element to it?
I mean, EJ clearly thinks there's a puppets dance part of it, but maybe there's something where he's just sort of a thrill seeker and wants to, it's like he's kind of like you could be like a pirate. I don't know.
Well, he's not his thrill. It's he's just sitting back watching us go after these treasures around the world, right?
So apparently this all became part of, he first kind of thought of it in 2016 when the Pokemon Go phenomenon was going. He saw huge swarms of people out in the streets looking for Pokemon. I was like, what's going on? And he said, this is a totally analog adventure. So that was like a, what do they call it?
It was like a mobile
augmented reality type of thing where you see these Pokemon figures. This is just like a good old fashioned treasure hunt.
Yeah.
You know what he could do, Maggie? He could just, I don't know, give this stuff away to people who need it.
He could totally give the Jackie Kennedy Onassis's brooch to charity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know.
Or to RFK.
He definitely doesn't need it. Anyway, would you guys be into the treasure hunt?
Sounds like Bogey's in.
It
Bogusch,
sounded
you
good at the
into something
beginning.
like this?
I mean,
You don't want a Michael Jordan rookie basketball card?
Perloff, you want to do it together? Teamwork?
Nah, he's
Friendship?
While you're on the road driving to San Antonio? Maybe pull off the road, try to look for George Washington's jelly glass?
I'm a big fan of the National Treasure movies. Is that the vibe we're going with here? Nick Cage?
A little bit. And then wasn't there already something like this? Like The Secret? Wasn't that like an organized treasure hunt by like an author to go find boxes randomly buried in places?
There was someone else who did this in 2016.
Yeah.
Now, are there riddles? There are riddles involved here. I can tell already.
Definitely riddles.
I hate riddles.
Definitely maps, riddles, all that kind of stuff. It's a treasure hunt, Pearl. I mean, there's probably a secret spell, a hex, some snakes.
Do you want to do it, Maggie?
I'm not that adventurous.
It's not adventure. Like, it's like...
It is adventure.
We can day drink.
Well, it's not like you're going to be like...
I'm in. There's White Claw?
Wait.
No laws when there's
It's not going to
claws?
be like Indiana Jones, like running over the tops of alligators to get across a river. It's
Well,
like
no, you don't have to kill any Nazis on the treasure hunt.
It's like a bunch of nerds figuring out like a math problem, right? Isn't that what this is going to be like? This is not going to be Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, I think it's a little bit of each. Like, I think it's a little bit of having to go out into the wild, into the wilderness to try to find the buried treasure. And I think there's a little bit of also trying to figure it out. Like, figure out the clues of where these boxes are.
Yeah, you got to tell me, before we commit to anything here as a show, what's the movie vibe we're going for? Is it going to be Indiana Jones? Is it going to be National Treasure? Is it going to be Pirates of the Caribbean? Or is it going to be like some... like nerdy, like Dungeons and Dragons, like a bunch of people. Like
It's City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. I have no idea what it's going to be like.
like I don't understand. Like, what do the people have to do to get to the treasure?
Find it.
You got to find it. So you got to buy the book first. So it's a pretty good scheme that he's
Yeah.
got going here.
Oh, there's
you gotta,
a book.
You got to buy the book, and the book has the clues and the maps. Did I not say the book part?
No, you did.
Okay.
Oh.
The other part he said is that he thinks it will take between 7 and 10 years for
Oh,
the
I'm
full
out.
treasure to be found.
Oh, my
and he hasn't
God.
ruled out sharing additional clues. He said, this is not a legacy project where I die and people are still searching for my treasures. So 7 to 10 years, but you will find the treasure.
Does Elon got any more seats on that spaceship to Mars? I
You wanna
got a
sex
number
to
one. I
Elon?
got no, not me. I got number one candidate that should be sent right up there. This guy.
With his
free.
ruby earrings.
Yeah, let him go. Take the Jordan rookie card with you.
For a second, I thought it was going to be the Jordan rookie baseball card. And I was going to be like, oh, that's a letdown. But he says the basketball
Oh, I
card.
bet you. How much is that worth though?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Probably
it's a
infinite.
minor league card. But anyway.
Take his Charizard and Zapdos Pokemon cards and get your ass out of here.
Know what those are.
EJ just wants to shoot this guy into the sun. Well, anyway, if you're into treasure hunts, there you go. Coming up, we're going to make picks. Let's try to make real money that we don't have to climb into the hills or whatever to go find. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff's NFL picks.
In college. Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All right, it's Wednesday, and so tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and we're going to be off. EJ is going to be hosting the show tomorrow. We're excited about that. Manny is going to be here for the next 3 days doing updates, Manny?
I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'll be around.
There you go. So we're going to make our picks today. EJ, what are the records, please?
So, Maggie, you had another 2 and 3 weeks, so you are now 34 and 26. Perloff, a 3 and 2 week, so you are 32 and 28. Just 2 games back of Maggie now.
I had a 10-game lead, I think, on Perloff at one point, and now you've closed the gap because you are a betting maestro, so I'll give you the floor. College against the spread and over-under. What do you have?
Okay, so I'll do college first, but I'm avoiding the Thanksgiving Day game, so I'm going to have you go first in NFL. Okay. College, I am doing Texas A&M. I've been talking about this game for 2 weeks. Texas, I go A&M +6. I just think that it's the SEC. The late season SEC feels like chaos, and we've been talking all show about what if A&M wins this game and goes to conference title game. I feel like we need that mess. Maybe it's a wishful bet, but I'm going A&M +6 against Texas. And then over-under, I'm going Michigan, Ohio State at, hold on, let me check. It's either 42.5 or 43. This is based on Michigan's playing a little better. And Ohio State's offense really is not dynamic at all, but it should be because look at all those stars. I feel like Ryan Day is really going to try and make a statement here against his arch rival and push that over the total.
This is amazing. This is how you know Perloff and I are sharing a brain. We're doing the same games but opposite picks. So I'm going to take the Texas A&M over 48.5. This is my ask of everyone on the show. If I ever bet another college football under, have me committed to an insane asylum.
This one's definitely going over.
Well, don't say that because I've been on a terrible, terrible cold streak. But Texas A&M, 48.5. I'll take the over. And then for Ohio State, I may regret this. I probably will. I'm laying the 20.5. Think about what's pent up here. Ohio State is not technically into the Big Ten title game yet. They've lost to Michigan the last 3 years. And Ryan Day is looking for some revenge. And I think he's going to take this opportunity because I think he's taken a lot of heat for losing to Michigan the last 3 years. And if they see and smell blood in the water, he's going to go for it with late touchdowns just like he did against Indiana last week. Right. He will put the dagger in. So I'll take Ohio State. I'll lay the 20.5.
We haven't even talked about that hypothetical. What if Ryan Day lost this game?
Oh, my God. It would lead the show Monday. Let's put it that way.
He'd be leaving Columbus on Monday. That would be crazy.
NFL,
you go first with NFL because I know you have a little more Thanksgiving Day action.
I do. So for NFL, I'm going to take, for my player prop, Caleb Williams, and I'm going to go over 20.5 completions because Caleb Williams, when he plays indoors, tends to be able to have over 21.5 completions. He's much better inside, as you would expect. So there you go. That's my player prop. For my over-under, I'm also going to go to the Thanksgiving Day games, and I'm going to go with the Giants and the Cowboys over 37. This is a very small total for an NFL game, even with backup quarterbacks galore, over 37. And then this one is going to be, I'm not going to love doing it, but I am. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I'm going to go plus the 5. They're home hosting the Houston Texans, and Trevor Lawrence is coming back. So Houston hasn't really been blowing teams out. On the road, divisional game, Jags plus the 5.
Like all of that. I mean, the 37, I feel like that's such a disrespect to my man Cooper Rush, assuming Cooper Rush plays. That one is definitely hitting. The Jags, that's funny. You probably get that one, but you do not feel good about betting on the Jags.
I don't.
I think the Texans are really struggling. That should be a great game.
This is what I'm hoping.
Okay. I am going to do one Thanksgiving Day prop. Josh Jacobs is the man for Green Bay. He might be tired after last week, but I'm going to have him over 70 rushing yards against the Dolphins. Little weather. What's safer than giving the ball to Josh Jacobs? I'm going with the Titans. So look at us with the AFC South. +6 against the Commanders. Listen, I've been denying it. The Cliff Kingsbury swoon is real. I'm ready to admit it. I was wrong. You were right. So I'm putting all my eggs in the Will Levis basket. And my over-under, I hit on this one last week, so I'm riding the Chiefs The Chiefs went way over against the Panthers. Now, the Raiders have some problems on offense, have some problems at quarterback.
This is like their Super Bowl, though, for the Raiders.
And I feel like last year, was it a 19-9 or something like that? I'm going to go over 42.5. I feel like the Chiefs are getting a little tired of this narrative that they can't move the ball. It might be helpful if Patrick Mahomes threw a pass over 6 yards. Might try that. Or you might not want to get sacked 11 times like you've been doing lately. But I think KC is going to start to kill the narrative that they stink on offense. And it's going to be this week, get revenge for the last holiday game, over 42.5.
The spread is 12 in that game. That's pretty wild. It feels kind of big.
I do think like Aiden O'Connell's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
This is not looking great for the Raiders.
I thought you were going to go Steelers-Bengals under 48.5.
Oh, it's so funny. I was thinking about going over on that game because the Bengals defense stinks, and I kind of think the Steelers are a high-flying team now.
They can't score in the red zone. But anyway, all right. Those are our NFL and college picks. We'll put them out on our social media at Maggie and Pearl. EJ and Manny and Bogusch and Kaplan and Widows and Coffee Drinkers, thank you guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We are so grateful for each and every one of you. I
am about to go bananas eating so much food. How about you?
I'm wearing sweatpants.
Oh, yeah.
No buttons or zippers allowed on Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday, everyone. Tune in to EJ hosting the show tomorrow. See you Monday.